taking the kid.
One hot swing on one very cold day for a guy who's got a lot of friends. And he brought to an end another Mets victory in April yesterday afternoon. What could Wilmer and the Mets do for an encore? At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open a three-game series against the Washington Nationals. The Mets swept a three-game series from the Nats a couple of weeks ago in D.C. The Nats are a little banged up right now. No Daniel Murphy, no Anthony Rendon, and a struggling Ryan Zimmerman. Bryce Harper's off to a great start, but I guess the question is, do you even need to pitch to Bryce Harper at this point?
Well, I certainly wouldn't. If you look at tonight's lineup, you've got Ryan Zimmerman hitting behind that perennial all-star right there, Bryce Harper, and Matt Adams, both hitting on the interstate. Harper so far this year is 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, but he has 14 RBIs. He's a terrific clutch hitter. There's really no reason to pitch to this man with the two guys behind him struggling. This lineup really misses Daniel Murphy.
Now, it's all well and good to say that, but the guy on the mound tonight for the Mets, Jacob Degrom, kind of gets to decide that, and he's a guy who likes to attack people.
He does like to attack people, but this might be one case where you might have to make sure that you're in the right situation. You know, 2 seasons ago, there's a 4-game series in Chicago, and the Nationals were beat up like this, and Joe Madden walked him 11 times that series. I'm not saying DeGrom's going to do that today because he has a 2.32 ERA in his career at Citi Field. He'll probably go after him the first time, but men on base, he'll be careful.
He already has a win against the Nats so far this year. The Mets will go up against Jeremy Hellickson, who signed late with the Nats, hasn't had a rehab start, nothing in the minors. This is his first start for the Nats.
Yeah, 8-11 last year with the Phillies and the Baltimore Orioles. The Mets have really taken it to Hellickson, especially when he was in a Philadelphia uniform.
So the Mets already with 3 wins under their belt against the Nats, try and keep it going against last year's division champs. Mets and Nats, all the action coming your way on SNY. Why is brought to you by Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com for exceptional offers. By Spectrum, watch your show wherever you go with Spectrum TV. It's TV the way you want it. Get it now at Spectrum.com. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. And by Tri-State GMC, visit the pros at your nearest Tri-State GMC dealer. That orange Gatorade looked good on Wilmer. Must have been cold, though. Be at Citi Field Saturday, May 5th, when the Mets take on the Rockies at 7:10 p.m. The first 25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Yoenis Cespedes Garden Gnome, courtesy of New Balance. Hope he needs those sunglasses soon. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Not nearly as chilly tonight as it was yesterday. 55 as we approach game time. Jacob Degrom set to take the mound. First pitch coming right up. Well, you might have heard that 25-year-old Bryce Harper's in his walk year. And he's off to a rollicking start. 7 home runs already this year in his first 50 at-bats. That's, for those doing the math, a home run a little over 7 at-bats. That's good. Hyundai starting lineup for the Nationals. So no Rendon, who fouled the ball off his toe. No Brian Goodwin, who's got a bad wrist. Matt Adams hasn't played a lot of outfield. He's out and left. Ryan Zimmerman stays in the cleanup spot against Jacob Degrom, who faces the Nats for the second time.
Toyota numbers 2-0 off to a good start. 47 wins in his first 110 starts.
Trey Turner takes outside, and we're underway. Turner's drawn a lot of walks in the early season, so he's got a good on-base percentage, but hitting just .203. Hitting in the leadoff spot with Adam Eaton on the disabled list with an ankle injury he suffered against the Mets. And Turner fouls off the fastball from Degrom, 1-1.
Well, they started the season with Turner hitting in the middle of the order in the 6th hole, I believe. And they made the change back to leadoff, and when the Mets were in Washington, he's got too much speed at the top. 6 stolen bases.
Well, 46 last year in an abbreviated season because of a broken wrist. And if he's getting on base at the pace that he is right now, even if the batting average isn't high, Turner can still be a weapon at the top of that batting order. And they need weapons right now. The Nats are struggling. They're 7-9. They just finished a 3-7 homestand with a loss to the Rockies yesterday. 1-2 from Degrom, and Turner pops it up in foul ground. Gonzalez coming over, has room, and Adrian puts it away for the first out of the night.
Your Alexis Metzi defense, Lobaton behind the plate. Well, this is your starting 4 on the infield, that veteran infield, except for Rosario. In the outfield, a little change here. How about this? Nimel, boy, in right field. Big home run yesterday. Lagares in center. Conforto moves to left.
Howie Kendrick hitting second in the order. He's been filling in for Daniel Murphy at second base, and he takes inside. On the way on the Mets defense, just to note, Cespedes getting his first day off, just routine. Jay Bruce, on the other hand, a little plantar fasciitis. That's why he's sitting for a second straight day.
Ooh.
Degrom gets in on the hands of Kendrick, and it's 1-1.
Bruce had a bout with that in spring training.
Jay says he could pinch hit today, as he did yesterday, and he thinks he'll be able to start tomorrow night.
The cold weather can't be helping that.
1-1 to Kendrick, and he fouls it back and out of play. 1-2.
Well, interesting how this first month has played out so far. Mets red hot. This very confident national team is going to be tested, and the Mets have a big lead over them right now, and they should push them as far back in that rearview mirror as they can as quickly as possible.
And Kendrick goes down on the slider for the second out. So Degrom has his first strikeout, and that'll leave the bases empty for Bryce Harper.
See the grip, though. I think it was a changeup, Gary, the circle grip. You don't see him throw it to right-handers very often, but he did there.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Harper has already drawn 20 walks this year, by far the most in the National League. 7 home runs, .479 on base percentage. So we were talking right in the open, Ronnie, about pitching to Harper, not pitching to Harper. You're facing him with 2 out and nobody on. So how do you approach it here?
You go after him. Absolutely.
And he breaks his bat, flies it to pretty deep right center. Nimel back near the wall, and it's out of here. A broken bat home run for Bryce Harper to put the Nationals in front. Well, that's shocking. Bat snapped in 2, and Harper hit it 390 feet to right center for his 8th home run of the year. And it's 1-0 Washington.
The legend grows.
I do not know what to say about that. I've never seen some. Oh, yeah, flex. I've never seen anybody break the bat in half and hit a home run. I've seen Dave Parker tear the cover off the ball on a line drive, but not this.
That is truly stunning. How is it possible?
I don't. No answer for you.
Ryan Zimmerman goes after a slider, and it's 0-1.
Did I say go right after him?
Well,
I think I did.
He went right after him and got it in on him and broke his bat, and it really didn't matter.
Knucklehead.
I know. What am I thinking?
8 home runs in his first 51 at bats this year. Zimmerman, on the other hand, after a bounce back comeback season for the ages last year, has gone right back to where he was a couple of years ago. Just 6 for 49 to start the season. And with Murphy out and Rendon out right now and Eaton out, they really need Zimmerman to get going. Overpowered by Degrom, and it's 1-2.
Davey Johnson and Whitey Herzog were involved in this game. That bat would be checked.
How about checking the ball?
Well, the ball we already know. Or I think we know. I think I know.
Wow. Either way, it's impressive.
On the outside corner, Zimmerman caught looking, inning over. A couple of strikeouts for Degrom around the broken bat home run for Bryce Harper. Sometimes you see things you've never seen before. This would be one of those. 1-0 Nats with the Mets coming to bat.
Stick around. There's more to come.
This day off, no Bruce, little foot issue, and so Nimel in the leadoff spot. Conforto hits third, and Juan Lagares in the lineup as well. Ahmed Rosario back in the 9 hole where he's done well.
Land Rover above and beyond numbers for Hellickson, a 500 pitcher in his career, 69 and 69. Career ERA against the Mets, almost 8.
Brandon Nimmo takes the first pitch for a strike. Nimmo had a big day yesterday. Single, triple, home run. Had a chance at a cycle his last time up, but struck out in search of a double. Hellickson began last year as the Phillies opening day starter. Finished it as a struggling pitcher with the Baltimore Orioles. Went 8-11 with a 5.43 ERA overall last year. Sat on the free agent market till the middle of March when he signed with the Nationals. Off the fist, a foul ball, should be playable for Defoe, and he puts it away for the first out.
And your Ram national defense. Trey Turner has got a fine glove, folks. We call him Hoover. He can pick it. And in the outfield, Matt Adams will be a little bit challenged out there. It's a defensive weakness here, trying to get some offense in this lineup. And of course, you've got everything out there and right.
Our truck continues to outdo itself.
We'll see how they are after run 28 games.
Here's this dribble Cabrera, and he takes one on the inside corner from Hellickson. Cabrera with big career numbers against Hellickson, hitting .391 against him with a home run in 23 at bats.
Hellickson's one of those guys. His windup, it's effortless. He's sneaky. You can't be lulled to sleep by his motion.
Rolled into the shift. Kendrick from the outfield grass throws out Cabrera, and quickly there are 2 out. Well, Jeremy Hellickson, rookie of the year with the Tampa Bay Rays back in 11.
That's right.
And that was his best season.
Yeah, he won 13 games that year, and 189 innings, only gave up 146 hits. Was known in those days for his great changeup. Throws a lot of cutters now.
It reminds me a lot when Mike Morgan came over to the Cubs from Baltimore. And I faced him a couple times, and he had that sneaky fastball upstairs, and he struck me out twice. And then I realized that he is deceptively quicker than you think, and you got to be a little more set. I think it's the same thing with Hellickson.
There's that cutter to start off Conforto.
Mike Morgan, who played for everyone, that Mike Morgan?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a shift.
First changeup from Hellickson, and it's a ball to strike to Conforto. 8th start for Michael. Still getting his feet under him, but the shoulder is perfectly fine, and that's the best news possible for the Mets after a winter of uncertainty, after a very unusual injury. And the curveball, he holds the swing in time. Ted Barrett with the call down at third. Lance Barksdale calling the balls and strikes tonight in the opening game of this series. There's Lance with his buddies Will Little, Tom Woodring, and the aforementioned Ted Barrett. Once that cutter in on Conforto, and it's 2-2.
Cutter looks good tonight for Hellickson.
Got Nimmo on it the first at bat. He's a guy that has to locate.
Battle of former rookies of the year on the mound tonight. Hellickson 11, Degrom in 14. And Conforto gets jammed and fouls it off, 2-2.
So you see what he's doing. He's trying to cut it in on the left-handed hitter. Then once he gets to 2 strikes, throw that one at the front hip that comes back. Bartolo Colon did a pretty good job of that last night in Houston.
21 up, 21 down.
I was as excited as I've ever been watching a baseball game on TV.
Did he get the W? I didn't check today.
No, they won it in 10 innings. But he was spectacular. And the curveball hit down the left field line toward the corner. Adams going back near the wall. Can't get it. It's an extra base hit for Conforto. He takes the turn at second and holds with a 2-out double. Well, we mentioned Adams hasn't played a lot of outfield, but Davey Martinez going for offense with his team banged up, and it probably cost him a 2-base hit right there.
Well, he got there and got a little gun shy. He's not an outfielder. He's a first baseman. And that's what, Gary, you and I, we do not like the DH. If you want offense and you got a guy that's challenged defensively, well, there's a price to be paid.
It's a trade-off.
Yep.
So here's Todd Frazier trying to get the tying run in from second with 2 out. Frazier off to a terrific start. And he hits one toward the hole. Turner can't get it. Base hit. Conforto around third. Adams is thrown to the plate. Not even close. Down to second base goes Frazier. He drives in the first mid run of the night. And we're tied at 1. 2 plays, 2 defensive mistakes by Matt Adams as he allows Frazier to get down into scoring position.
Can the Mets score after they give up a run, or can they score? Oh.
Well, there's 2 mistakes on the old hanging slider right here. Well, not a bad breaking ball, really. Just didn't get it away enough. Just out of the reach of Turner. The throw here, where's Defoe? I mean, he overthrows the cutoff man, but where's Defoe lining him up?
Yeah, there was no cutoff man anyway.
And good heads up on the backside. Frazier advancing to second. He's in scoring position. Frazier is a very heady player, a good base runner.
Also worth noting, Todd Frazier had taken the first pitch in 23 consecutive plate appearances, but jumped the first pitch there against Hellickson.
And it was a curveball, and it wasn't the pitch that Wieters called. Wieters was crossed up.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez with Frazier at second and 2 out. Adrian had the day off yesterday. Wilmer Flores started and finished. And Gonzalez takes a curveball for a strike.
He did. The play of the game for Wilmer, I mean, other than the home run, was blocking that ball at first base earlier.
He's become a walk-off king. Met club record for walk-off home runs is 4, and he's already got 3 in the last 4 years. Fastball in for a call strike.
Watch this cross up. This is the first pitch to Frazier. He's expecting fastball in. He got the curveball.
You're allowed to visit the mound after a cross up.
Probably haven't even see each other in spring training, right? Wieters and Hellickson.
Probably not. Hellickson didn't sign till the 16th of March, and that was a minor league contract. 1-2 to Gonzalez. He was down in extended spring training. He's taking A.J. Cole's spot in the rotation. Cole didn't have a good start against the Mets, although he had a pretty good last start, but they decided to give Hellickson his turn. Of course, the top of the Nats rotation is as good as anybody's with Scherzer and Strasburg. And Gonzalez down on the high fastball to end the inning. First strikeout for Hellickson, but the Mets get even on Frazier's 2-out RBI hit. 1-1 after 1. Matt Adams leads off the second against Jacob Degrom and hits one in the air to right field. Brandon Nimel ambles in to get it. One pitch and one out for Degrom in the second. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get New York Mets home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
Can you repeat that? What? I didn't get it. I wasn't paying attention.
You see the flags. They're blowing in a different direction today. Fortunately for us, it is blowing out, not in.
I really felt for you guys yesterday while I was watching, streaming the game on my.
Streaming.
Come on.
As I was reading in the tub.
Matt Wieters takes a strike.
Don't go any further.
Well, Keith, this is our 10th year at Citi Field. It's the first time we've ever closed the window.
I know. I was paying attention. I was shocked. You're getting soft here.
No, it was really cold. I mean, even with the windows closed, it was shockingly cold.
As cold as we were in Minnesota and Colorado?
Colorado was worse because we didn't have the windows closed. And remember, we played a doubleheader that day.
Yes, we did.
And by the way, if Wilmer hadn't hit the walk-off home run, we might have had a problem.
12-hour rain delay.
Yeah,
that's what we would have had.
Something. Matt Wieters back from the DL. He's homered in his last 2 games, giving a little offensive boost to a beleaguered Nats offense, but he goes down to the high fastball, and Degrom has his 3rd strikeout of the night.
Degrom is getting better and better at employing that high fastball with 2 strikes.
It's interesting to see the subtle changes in how the Mets staff attacks hitters this year with the new pitching coach, Dave Island, who's stressed pitching inside. There he is. And I like what I've been seeing so far. How can I not?
Here's Wilmer Defoe, and Degrom throws a fastball by him. Defoe filling in at third base the last couple of days. Anthony Rendon fouled the ball off his left big toe on Friday and has not been able to play since. They say Rendon's toe is completely black and blue.
Yep.
He's probably going to lose the nail on the toe. Nice curveball by Degrom for a strike, and it's 0-2.
So for those of you who have had, you drop a big heavy rock on your toe and it turns black and blue, it hurts.
Why would somebody drop a big heavy rock on their toe?
I had a brick fall on my foot when I was a kid.
Sisyphus.
Here's the 0-2, and Defoe with an emergency hack fouls it off.
You know, I was just wondering as I'm watching Degrom pitch, I wonder if you'd have more confidence in Lobaton, the catcher, who's going to know the Washington hitters better than Jose Lobaton.
Spent the last 4 years with the Nationals.
Oh, that was an emergency swing right there. Desperation staying at bat, choking up.
Stays inside. Curveball got him. Side retired. Degrom with the hook strikes out Defoe. 4 strikeouts in the first 2 innings for Jake. 1-1 game at Citi Field. but certainly tolerable tonight in the ballpark. Nice night to come out for a ball game. See two division rivals go head to head. Nats have owned the Mets at Citi Field over the last few years, but after the Mets swept the Nats in D.C., trying to get off to a good start against them in their own ballpark.
Got Richie, our audio guy, on camera there. Nice shot. Very good. Who's doing the audio?
Somebody else. Juan Lagares leads off in the home second and takes a changeup outside from Hellickson. Last 6 years, the Nats are 43-16 at Citi Field. Lagares bloops one into center, and Michael Taylor is there. 1 out.
Mickey Callaway continues to mingle in his bench, keeping them feeling a part of the team, contributing, as well as getting ABs and staying in sync. It's not an easy thing to do.
Well, with Cespedes sitting tonight, every Mets starting position player has had a day off except for Todd Frazier. He's the only one who started every game now. Here's Jose Lobaton hitting 7th. Interesting that the other day when the Mets had their catching catastrophe with Darno and Plawecki both going down within 24 hours and went to a more defensive-minded catching tandem with Lobaton and Nito, Mickey Callaway implied that it was going to be hard to hit Rosario 9th anymore. Well, after a couple of days of seeing Rosario struggle in the 7-hole, he's got him back in the 9-hole, and he's hitting Lobaton 7th.
Well, I like that call. Now, Lobaton, you talked about, he's defense first guy, then hitting. So you put him, it's almost like sacrificing him in front of the pitcher, even though the Mets pitchers are very talented, and let Rosario hit in front of Brandon Nimel. I like that personally.
Probably get Rosario better pitches to hit. And with his tendency to chase, you know, if you hit him in front of two weaker offensive players, he's got more pitches out of the strike zone to chase.
There you go.
He has been getting a little bit out of the zone, alarmingly so of late. 15 strikeouts on the year.
Lobaton rolls one down to first, and Zimmerman makes the play, and there are 2 out.
But I like his aggressiveness. Rosario's at the plate, and I'm not a proponent, and neither is Gary, of the pitcher hitting in the 8th spot, but I like it for Rosario with leadoff hitter behind him, giving him protection.
So here's Degrom batting 8th, 1 for 6 so far this year. Lifetime 192 hitter, and he takes a curveball from Hellickson for a strike.
I'm gonna have to ask Jake this week. He had a conversation there with the home plate umpire and Weeders. I wonder if he asked, have you guys ever seen a guy hit the ball out of the ballpark with a broken bat?
I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about that during and after this game. I mean, you saw Trey Turner's reaction in the Nats dugout. I'm sure he had never seen anything like that before. I mean, you've seen broken bat home runs where a guy gets a crack in his bat, but for the bat to snap in half like that, I don't think I've ever seen that live or on television.
I have not. And I mentioned Dave Parker hit a line drive at Old Busch Stadium when I was a Cardinal, and it was a topspin line drive, and he tore the cover off the ball. It didn't even roll out to the right fielder.
Like the natural? Like one of those things?
It literally hit the cover off the ball. It had to be a defective ball. It had to be.
Maybe. Or maybe it's just, the Cobra. Line the other way, and Degrom's got a base hit. Taylor over quickly to cut it off, and Degrom at first base with a 2-out single. His 2nd hit of the season.
Uh-oh. Shortstop was shifted up the middle on Degrom there. Interesting way to play.
Nice
pitcher.
Hitting. Nice hitting.
You don't see them play the shift. That's a good point. You don't see them play a pull shift against a pitcher for you.
Are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous. Who are these guys?
Silly.
It's a little slap job to left field. Nicely done. Like Rod Carew.
Well, you know, he was once a shortstop.
That's right.
The reason they made him a pitcher, couldn't hit.
Boy, I know people like that.
Here's Ahmed Rosario. And he takes the letter high strike. Rosario just 1 for his last 14, but as a 9-hole hitter this year, he's hitting .290, and all 6 of his RBIs have come out of the 9-hole. And that changeup skips into Wieters, 1-1. Jeremy Hellickson, now 31 years old. 4th-round draft pick by Tampa Bay in 05, coming out of high school in Des Moines, Iowa.
All everything in basketball in Iowa, wouldn't he?
Playing him pretty much straight up on the infield.
If he was a basketball player, he couldn't wear 58.
Good pitch. Ran that in on his hands. Well, let's see if that sets up a fishing expedition here.
What exactly is that?
If he fastball in, now he's going to maybe throw the nibbling breaking ball away and see if Rosario will fish, or will he double up again? I don't think so.
In the air to left field, Adams back, gets in front of this one and two-hands it to retire the side. A hit and 1 left after 2. We're tied at 1. Of baseball early in 2018 has been the weather. The Mets have already had a snow out. There are 3 more postponements in baseball today, and they are piling up. Players, broadcasters, fans, we've all had to battle against the elements.
That's my favorite here.
The Gesellman warm-up, I think, is the highlight of the season so far.
Chop, chop, chop. Supposed to be a family show.
It was. Now the Mets haven't had the worst of it. It's been way worse in the Midwest and up in Boston. But the Mets have had their share. Yesterday was particularly chilly, but it never rained during the game. That was a plus. Jeremy Hellickson takes a strike from Jacob Degrom as we start the 3rd. 24 postponed games already this year. I think there were 39 all of last season and 26 all of 2016. 24 already this year. Now part of it's just bad luck, but of course the season also started 4 days earlier, which gives you that many more opportunities for bad weather. Another postponement in Chicago today where it's snowing.
Wow.
On April 16th. Too high to Hellickson. Michael Taylor's batting 9th in the order. He's on deck. Trey Turner behind him. Hellickson, lifetime 164 hitter. Not bad for a guy who began his career in the American League. First 2-ball count for Degrom tonight. And Hellickson fouls it away. Jake allowed just 1 earned run in 6 innings against the Nats in his first start against them. Had to extricate himself from a very difficult 6th inning situation to keep it at that. 2-2 coming, and he gets Hellickson looking at a fastball. 5th strikeout and the 3rd in a row for Degrom. Let's check in to the Jim Beam Bourbon Bar, and Steve Gelbs, whose report tonight is brought to you by Jim Beam.
All right, Gary, let's go inside baseball here for a second, because Bartolo Colon at 44, nearly 45 years old, continues to defy the normal expectations when a player is aging. He took a perfect game into the 8th inning yesterday against the Astros. Would have become the oldest pitcher by far in Major League history to throw a perfect game. Randy Johnson was 40 when he did it, but he did end up going 7 2/3, 1-hit ball. That is a record. Nobody has ever gone 7 2/3 of 1-hit ball at his age. And the amazing thing we saw when he was here is how he got it done. 96 pitches, 83 of them fastballs. His 2-seamer, which he relied on the most, he threw it topped out at just over 90 miles per hour, averaged about 88, and the slowest pitch he threw, a 2-seam fastball, 84.6.
You know, it's interesting. I saw a stat today. See Bartolo Colon and Verlander. It was great, but Colon was the story, even though Verlander was great. Saw a stat today. Bartolo Colon, 7 or more innings, 1 earned run or less. He has 102 of those starts. 1 more than John Smoltz.
Wow. Of course, Smoltz didn't have a lot of those as a reliever.
That's right.
I thought it was interesting last night. You had 2 Cy Young Award winners, Colon and Verlander. Verlander, an aging pitcher at 35. And Colon nearly 10 years older. It's just phenomenal. 2-2 to Michael Taylor with 1 out. And he hits it sharply right at Rosario. It comes up and he stays with it. And he throws out the speedy Taylor for the 2nd out.
Beautifully fielded by Rosario. This ball was an up hop. He stayed in front. You kids out there, that's textbook right there. Excellent fundies. 2 hands.
So 2 out and nobody on. Degrom's retired 6 in a row since the Harper home run. And now Trey Turner, who fouled out to first base to lead off the game. And the curveball has him flailing. 0-1. Degrom making more liberal use of his curveball early in this game. One and 1 to Turner, and it's right down the middle for a strike. 1-2. Degrom struck out 5 his first time through the batting order tonight. Met pitchers yesterday struck out 16, the most they had fanned in a game since 2015. 11 of those by Syndergaard.
He had a lot to do with it.
Chopped down to first. Gonzalez will make the flip. Degrom over to cover. Side retired. 7 in a row set down by Degrom as he gets the Nats 1-2-3 in the 3rd. Still 1-1. The highest average strikeout day of any day in Major League history. There were 87 more strikeouts than hits, the biggest disparity of any day in Major League history. And it's not just yesterday. The strikeout rate this year is up to 22.6%, the highest it has ever been. As Brandon Nimel leads off against Jeremy Hellickson. As recently as 5 years ago, it was 19.9%, now 22.6%. It is going up every year. Every year for the last 8 years, baseball has set a new record for highest strikeout percentage. And I don't know what you do about that, because it certainly is not good for the game. It's great for, for individual pitchers and their numbers, but as far as action in the game, it makes it a less entertaining product.
I just think it's not emphasized in the minor leagues. The strikeouts aren't important.
Nimmo gets jammed and pops one up for Kendrick.
You've got, I'll say it again, you've got the loft angle. I won't say launch. And that is going to be more strikeouts. I mean, when you do this, the ball up here, you're not going to catch up to. If you're going to try to hit the ball in the air, Barry Bonds did it so good. I watched him take BP. Squaring up to me is the shoulders are level on the high pitch, so your bat stays level and you have a slight uppercut. If you start dropping this, you're dead meat up here.
And yet, Keith, last year the team that won the World Series emphasized not striking out, and the Astros, still a big power hitting team, but they had the fewest strikeouts of any team in the American League last year. So I would hope that at some point, in terms of the way they're teaching hitting, that example gets followed and the pendulum starts to swing back.
I see a lot of things coming back around traditional baseball. More emphasis now on long relievers, just the little things that are coming around and coming back.
Cabrera hits one through the vacated space. Turner has no play. It's an infield hit for Cabrera. Well, Degrom took advantage of a shift. Cabrera does as well, and the Mets have their 4th hit of the night.
Now look at that big hole. All you got to do, I mean, oh my gosh. This would bring back the dead ball era. All you got to do is just kind of push it out there.
Did you notice that Hellickson let that go?
I did
He
not.
thought he was going to have someone in that vicinity.
And he's a Gold Glove fielder,
Yes.
so if he had known, if it had occurred to him, he would have gone after that ball. So Conforto bats with a man on. Hit a double to the fence in left field his first time up.
So to get back to that, it's really 2 out of the last 3 years the World Series champion has been the leader in not striking out. But did you change your approach with 2 strikes? Did you shorten up? What was your thought with 2 strikes to not strike out?
Well, I certainly wasn't swinging for the fences, that's for sure, but I wasn't also looking to punch the ball the other way. I was a big threat with 2 strikes. I just had to bear down more. I didn't choke up more. I always choked up a ½ inch. I just went up the middle, and really, I know Gary doesn't like me to say this, like I was trained like you're a big cat cornered against your back against the wall and surrounded by the enemy. And you got to fight. You got to fight.
Oh. Okay, Patton.
I have no objection to that, Keith. I think,
You're the one with the cat.
I think, references to the animal kingdom are always appreciated. Well, I will say this also, the Mets tied for the National League lead in home runs last year, and they were not a high strikeout team relative to the league. So a lot of the things that they're teaching in Houston with the former Mets hitting coach Dave Hudgens have carried over here. And the Mets have the 4th fewest strikeouts in the National League this year as well. Two-1 to Conforto, and that's a little high. Cutter from Hellickson. That's 3-1. Let's check in with Steve.
Gary, we see Asdrubal Cabrera at first base. He's really spent a large part of this early part of the season pushing the pace running, and I know that's a big emphasis that the Mets have put on early in the year, but he's looked particularly spry. He says for the first time in a couple of years, he feels healthy. That left knee, which has bothered him so much over the last couple of seasons, he worked on a lot this offseason. In the past, he had given it a lot of rest, but it had gotten weak over time. So this offseason, he focused on strengthening the left knee. Now it feels healthy and strong, and it's allowing him to be at the forefront of this base running push that the Mets are on.
See if he's running here with 3-2 and 1 out. Well, it certainly has allowed him to be the king of the dirt ball read.
That's my favorite this year.
Mickey Callaway expression that we have come to embrace.
Got to say it with a little drawl, though.
Cabrera runs. Conforto takes low ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on. So an infield hit and Hellickson's first walk put 2 aboard for Todd Frazier. And Wieters will spend a visit.
Don't really usually see a catcher that much taller than a starting pitcher, but Wieters is all of 6'5".
Oh, Todd's got the Sinatra working. Excellent.
It's so funny. Wieters went to the mound. Lance Barksdale took a little card out of his pocket, made a mark, waved to the press box, made sure that they acknowledged the visit, take it off on the big scoreboard. New stuff.
And it's the 3rd inning, and we're an hour in.
Todd Frazier drove in the Mets run with a 2-out hit in the first. Bats here with 2 men on. And he takes a changeup out of the strike zone for ball 1. Frazier's RBI was his 10th of the year. He's now hit in 6 straight games. He's got his batting average up over 300. His on-base percentage over 450.
13 walks. So critical to be ahead in the count there. It's ahead 1-0, laid off a nibbling pitch.
Gets the fastball inside. Now it's 2-0. Hellickson's getting close, but not getting strikes right now. He's thrown first pitch strikes 11 of 13, but not to Frazier.
Well, you got to think a pitcher's trying, hitter's trying to pull the ball. You want to try to cut the ball in that outside corner. Fastball by Hellickson.
And Frazier trying to go to right, fouls it off. 2-1.
More of a sinker than a cutter. And Frazier's one of those rare right-handed hitters that, because of the way he hits and lunges, he's a good low ball hitter, good breaking ball hitter.
Cabrera at second, Conforto at first with 1 out. And Frazier rockets one to left field. Adams going back. It's over his head and off the base of the wall. Cabrera is in. Conforto being waved home. Turner makes the relay throw to the plate on the hop. Wieters with the tag. Conforto is out at the plate. Tried to somersault past with the roll, but Wieters with the tag, and the Mets may challenge. It's an RBI hit for Frazier, a double to bring in the second Met run and make it 2-1 New York.
Fastball got out over the plate, and there's Frazier. That patent letting go with that one hand. That top hand he likes to release and reach for that ball away. If he tagged him, he's out.
He did. He got him on the knee.
And no challenge by the Mets.
Watch him get it on the left knee. Right there.
That's quite an evasive maneuver by Conforto. It almost worked, but Wieters able to get him right there.
Yep. And you always get a little concerned about that shoulder here on this slide.
You know, it's also interesting to me because of this is the tag 90% of the time that catchers use on this play. And I'm always thinking that someone's going to figure it out and start sliding straight into that glove and knock their hand off.
That's what Willie Mays was so good at. He used to slide and kick the ball out of your glove.
So Frazier has driven in both Met runs. 7-6-2 on the putout at the plate for the second out. And now Gonzalez goes after a first pitch changeup, 0-1. Adrian struck out his first time up. So Todd Frazier continues to rake.
By the way, excellent play by the Nationals and Adams to Turner to Wieters. Textbook.
Gonzalez lifts one to center. Taylor started back, now coming on, and that retires the side. Frazier's second RBI hit of the day has put the Mets in front for the first time. Mets lead it 2-1 in the third. We'll keep it right here.
First Data salutes our veteran of the game.
Thanks to the greatest military force across the globe, America remains land of the free and home of the brave. During each Mets home game, we recognize a veteran of the game, and here is our honoree.
Specialist Detrell Howell of the United States Army served our country for 8 years, including deployments in support of Operation Desert Storm. And here is our Mets veteran of the game, Queens native Detrell Howell. Presenting Detrell with an American flag that has flown over Citi Field is Mets pitcher Steven Matz. First Data salutes those who serve.
First Data and SNY salute the veteran of the game, along with those service members who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our nation and to the service of the entire military community. Jacob Degrom with the lead for the first time. Mets up 2-1 as he takes the mound for the fourth, facing Howie Kendrick with Bryce Harper waiting on deck. Kendrick struck out his first time up. And he goes after a high fastball, and it's 0-2. Well, there's Harper with a new bat and a home run already under his belt. And Kendrick tries to hold. He went around, strike three. So Degrom strikes out Kendrick for the second time, his sixth of the night.
I don't know if Kendrick was mad at the umpire or just mad at himself for that at bat. Just never in it.
As Ronnie mentioned earlier, Degrom really now has starting to really master that fastball upstairs out of the strike zone.
So Degrom's retired 8 in a row since Harper's unlikely home run in the first. Snapped the bat in half, hit it 406 feet over the fence in right center for his 8th home run of the season. And he runs that slider inside ball once. How do you approach him this time, Ronnie?
I feel the same way. I mean, when you have no one on base, you have to go after a hitter. You can't feel that any hitter, I don't care who it is, that your stuff's not good enough to get someone out, especially when you're an elite pitcher like Jacob is.
Gets the changeup in for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Well, they've got him playing on the pull on the infield, and I would just keep the ball down and away.
Using Matt Reynolds' bat.
Wow. Got hits in it. That's why. Oh, good slider. That is not a strike. Starts out as a strike, and you can't hit that pitch because it's a ball, and it's just so hard to lay off.
One-two to Harper. slowly hit. Rosario's got it. 2 out. So Degrom again goes up in the zone, gets the grinder from Harper, and he's retired 9 in a row.
You know, when I'm watching Jake throw tonight, if I had any criticism in his first 3 starts, occasionally it seemed to me like he was overthrowing in those first 3 starts. So under control tonight. Execution is just top notch.
It's amazing what a Big Mac and fries will do for you.
That's right. I read that story too.
Well, high in protein.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Another big story in the Times today, if you missed it, about Degrom and the fact that his workouts and his nutrition are not necessarily the same as the other Met pitchers or even players in general. Does a lot more running, a lot more throwing, and maybe a little more fast food indulgent. 1-1 to Zimmerman.
When you play and you're young, you can eat anything.
That's right.
Because you're going to burn it off. And the way he runs.
Well, he's obviously got a very high-keyed metabolism. Zimmerman fouls one away, but he doesn't spend as much time in the weight room as, say, Noah Syndergaard does. Doesn't watch his diet the same way that Noah does. This is from that Times article today by James Wagner, and talked about the fact that he throws every day during the offseason.
No, that's amazing. And, you know, I know he's down there in Florida, so it's the great weather. That's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. I mean, I loved living in New York. I still live here in Manhattan, but nowhere to really throw during the winter.
Zimmerman goes fishing, side retired. 7 strikeouts for Degrom over the first 4 innings. He's retired 10 in a row. 2-1 New York in the 4th. Home 4th inning. Juan Lagares leads off against Jeremy Hellickson. Mets up 2-1. And Lagares takes changeup for a strike. It's a cool night, but it's always a good time for ice cream.
What is he putting on there?
Stuff. That would be chocolate syrup. I don't know about the other stuff, Keith.
What is? Well, no comment. I would love to have it.
I'm sure we can arrange that if you really are serious about that.
You see this suit I'm wearing today? I was not able to put it on opening day. It was too tight. I was able to wear it.
I suggest then that you
stay away.
Refrain, because otherwise we'll be back to opening day.
That's for children.
1-1 to Lagares. Drops down the bunt. Wiener's out to get it. No play. And Lagares has an infield hit. We have seen Juan try to bunt for hits on dozens and dozens of occasions. This time he was successful.
You know, whenever I've watched Juan try to bunt, he's so careful that he ends up most of the time bunting it foul. This time he bit off a little more chunk of it, deadened it more, and ended up working out for a hit.
I think if Wieters handles that ball, he's got a chance to throw him out.
6 hits for the Mets tonight against Hellickson. Now Lobaton, who grounded out to first base his first trip. Mets have the leadoff man on for the first time tonight.
Well, here you go here. Speed kills, makes you rush. And you come up empty-handed.
Now, I know we talk all the time about third basemen fielding that ball and using their whole hand. Is it the same for a catcher? Is he supposed to try and get his whole hand down on that ball? Or is he supposed to do what Wieters tried to do and just grab it with the 2 fingers?
I think it all depends on how you grab the ball. You're able to shift it, even for pitchers fielding, right, Ron? And you were a good one, except that one time you your thumb.
I think I never fielded a bunted ball with my whole hand. Every time it was just with like a prong, you know, your thumb and your 2 fingers.
You tried to, anyway.
You tried to, but and I can't remember grabbing a ball with a fist. The thing I was taught by someone that was in the Baltimore system in spring training once was when the ball is dead, try to step on it. Because if you get as close with your right foot to it, your right arm goes immediately to the ball. The ball doesn't get too far away from you.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's great unless you actually do step on
Well,
it.
this is what the instructor told me. He said that you will never step on the ball because that's how you just will not physically step on the ball. So when you get to it, you make sure if you're right-handed, you try to step on it, which brings your right hand right to the ball. You'll never miss it. And he was right. I mean, for me anyway.
It's good advice.
We'll work on it tomorrow, Gary.
I look forward to that.
I can't wait to bend over.
1-1 to Lobaton.
My back wouldn't handle it. Al, I'm sorry. I'm not doing fundies on ground balls.
Degrom on deck, hitting 8th. And Lobaton comes up empty. 1-2. Jeremy Hellickson's Nationals debut after signing in the middle of March and not having a minor league start. He was in extended spring training and has come right to this, his first start of the season.
You know, he has enough experience that he can pull it off.
Jams Lobaton. I would imagine he has some kind of relatively low pitch expectation.
Yes, and I think the same thing would have happened if Zach Wheeler hadn't had such an outstanding game. You know, the Mets' Jason Vargas probably would have done the same, probably straight from a simulated game into a real game, although he pitched in spring training.
Of course, Vargas has to show that he can field his position since the injury is to his non-pitching hand. Still hasn't been able to do that in those simulated games. He's been working with the L screen with somebody catching for him. So, yeah, at some point he's got to show that he can catch a hard ground ball or a line drive, or even a throw back from a catcher. One and 2 to Lobaton. Fouls off the changeup and hangs in there. Get an in-depth look at what the Mets should do to get Brandon Nimel on the lineup more on Mets blog presented by Citi, featured on SNY.TV. Well, they've gotten him in the lineup the last 2 days. Certainly paid off yesterday.
The bench came through yesterday.
And Lobaton down on strikes. Second strikeout of the night for Hellickson and the first out of the inning. Let's check out tonight's Verizon trivia question. Adrian Gonzalez has the 5th most RBIs among active Major League players who are the top 4. Well, 2 of them are real easy, future Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I think I got it. P and B. Is that who you had?
Yes.
Okay.
All you need is J. Degrom had a base hit his first time up. Defoe in on the grass. He's not bunting, and he pops it up. In comes Zimmerman to take charge. And Degrom retired for the second out.
It's interesting there that Jake wasn't running there for a second. You got to run that out because they'll turn 2 on you.
So 2 out. Lagares still at first, and here's Rosario, who flied out to left his first time up. The Mets swept the Nationals in Washington 2 weeks ago. The Mets are 8-0 against the National League East. Swept series from the Phillies and the Marlins as well. They are the first team ever to start a season 8-0 in the National League East, going back to 1969 when play began.
They're 6-0 on the road.
The first team since the Diamondbacks in 08 in any division to win their first 8 against their own division. But nobody had ever done it before in the National League East. Won the first 5 series of the year, first time in franchise history. They come from behind 7 times. It's because they score every time the opposition scores a run. I mean, their success ratio at that is just phenomenal. Today was the 32nd time that a team had scored in any inning against the Mets, and in 15 of the 32 they came back and scored in the next half inning.
A remarkable number.
Alexson's been getting ahead of the hitters. First pitch strikes to 16 of 18, and he's up on Rosario 0-2. And Lagares has to dive back.
Well, the Mets as a team coming in to this game tonight are 255 with runners in scoring position and 240 with 2 outs in that situation.
I mean, the Mets have not been an offensive juggernaut. They're not even in the top half of the league in runs scored. They're 10th coming into the day, but their pitching has been phenomenal. So they haven't had to score all that much to win. Best staff ERA in the National League. The bullpen has been spectacular.
They've shown a real talent to come back. That's one great thing that I've seen.
1-2 coming, and Rosario gets out of the way. 2-2.
Coming into this game, they're 12-2. Their run differential is 22,
which is very small for a team that's 10 games over 500. Two coming to Rosario. And he fouls back that cutter.
So, Keith, we've seen Hellickson trying to live in the kitchen of Rosario, but he hasn't gone away with that hard breaking ball yet. Off the plate.
Usually with 2 strikes, you can get him to chase that breaking ball out of the strike zone.
Yeah, you would think that's the book report on Rosario.
He's certainly established in.
Weeder stays in, and Rosario hits one foul. Changeup.
Once again, Ron, another changeup instead of a breaking ball. Off to Rosario.
See, the thing about Rosario is that he does swing a lot of bad pitches, but if you don't throw him bad enough, he'll still put him in play and get hits off him.
7th pitch of the at bat coming to Ahmed, and he takes the changeup out of the strike zone, and it's 3-2. So some good takes there by Rosario to get himself into a full count. And now Lagares will be running. Zimmerman continuing to hold the bag. Don't understand that.
Neither do I.
Happens once a day.
That's automatic. You play behind.
3-2 coming, and he fouled it away. I mean, why would you leave that right side hole open for Rosario when you don't have to?
I don't understand this at all. I mean, there was never any instance where I held a runner on 3-2 with 2 outs. So you can have Vince Coleman and Willie McGee or Ozzie Smith there. I played behind him. I tucked closer to him than the normal average runner.
9th pitch of the at bat, and Rosario gets a piece of that one, keeps the at bat alive. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. They can run that one back 100 times.
Oh, they will. I don't see how that could possibly happen, but
it's not just that he hit a home run, but he hit it 406 feet.
I'm an eyewitness.
Again, the 3-2, and Rosario pulls one down to third. Defoe makes the throw across the diamond low, but Zimmerman able to scoop it out, and that retires the side. A leadoff bunt hit by Lagares. Mets are able to do nothing with it, and Zimmerman with a nice scoop. 2-1 Mets after 4. A lovely view of Citi Field at night from across Flushing Bay.
Is that LaGuardia right there?
That water looks cold.
Matt Adams leads off in the 5th inning and takes a strike from Jacob Degrom, who's retired 10 straight Nationals. Jake with 7 strikeouts tonight. He got Adams on a fly ball his first time up. Degrom has been in serious command tonight. The only base runner he's allowed was that bizarre broken bat home run by Bryce Harper in the 1st inning. Adams laces one toward the middle, and he's got himself a clean base hit. So Adams behind in the count. Picks up just the 2nd Nationals hit and snaps a string of 10 in a row retired by Degrom.
He got to 0-2 on him on a backdoor slider. He tried to go back there again. Caught a little too much of the plate.
Yeah, it's actually out there.
Yeah, not a bad pitch.
Just obviously he was protecting the plate and going up the middle, able to cover that outside corner. It's good hitting.
So the first time tonight, Degrom will have to pitch out of the stretch. He'll face Matt Wieters, who struck out his first time up. Wieters did not play when the Mets were in Washington. He was on the DL with an oblique injury. And we got to see the young catcher Pedro Severino, who looks like he may be the future behind the plate for the Nats.
Yeah, I think he's definitely the future. Real good defensively. We'll see how much he can hit. Miguel Montero was on the team in the first game of that series, and now no longer.
He was released, and there was some talk of the Mets, you know, perhaps being interested in Montero, but I don't think we see that happening.
No.
Wilmer Defoe waiting on deck. But I guess the question for Davey Martinez is going to be, with Wieters coming off a really rough season last year. Ground ball to short, should be 2. Rosario to Cabrera, and the toss to first for the 6-4-3 double play, 2 out. With Wieters having struggled last year, if he struggles this year, does Severino take over that job this year?
I think
with Wieters still here.
Yeah, I think he does. You know, usually the second baseman will set up on that play, but he couldn't because he was playing Wieters to pull. So Cabrera got over there a little later, so just took it on the run.
And
REO Speedwagon?
Cabrera knows his base runner too, and
Yeah.
we had plenty of time.
Here's Wilmer Defoe with 2 out and nobody on. Struck out his first time up and takes the fastball high. Get to Citi Field tomorrow and Wednesday. The Mets continue their series against the Nationals at 7:10 p.m. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Zach Wheeler gets his second start tomorrow after a brilliant first start against Miami. Defoe drops down the bunt. Frazier on the charge. Barehanded play. Wide throw, though, pulls Gonzalez off the bag, and Defoe will be credited with a bunt single. Not great execution by Defoe. Frazier came in quickly, just didn't make a good throw.
The ball bounced up on Frazier at the last second.
I think that ball got stuck in the palm there. He wasn't able to. The key is here, you're going to throw a sinker. It's a great angle, folks. You're going to throw a sinker. The ball's going to come back to the first baseman. Left to right on that shot, and it just didn't do it that time.
Looked like he threw a changeup instead of a sinker. Here's Hellickson, the pitcher, with 2 out and a runner at first. Defoe runs, and he'll get the stolen base without a throw. Very unusual to steal a base with the pitcher at the plate and 2 out. But Defoe does for his second steal of the year.
He better make it.
Well, he got a great jump, and also nobody was covering the bag. So that's why Lobaton did not throw it.
So the tying run at second with 2 out. Hellickson struck out looking his first time up. There are your city probables for the remainder of the series. Wheeler against Gio Gonzalez tomorrow night. Steven Matz against Tanner Roark Wednesday night.
Gio, who is just loves pitching here, and I'm really excited to see this Wheeler pitch his second start.
Off the corner to Hellickson. Wheeler, that first start in Miami, he gave up that home run to Miguel Rojas that went all the way to Tortola. You know, the Marlins home base.
Yes, that's right.
And then he was just great after that. Retired 16 in a row to finish that outing in his first start of the year. And Hellickson takes a changeup for a strike, and it's 2-2. You see the pitch count for Degrom. This is only the 3rd batter all night he's gone to a 2-ball count. He hasn't had a single 3-ball count yet. Two-two. Defoe runs. Hellickson strikes out. Inning over. 8 strikeouts for Degrom over the first 5 innings. He has been efficient, and he's been really, really good. 2-1 halfway through. It'll be the third time around the batting order for New York. Brandon Nimel will lead off. Nimel started the last 2 days, but the at-bats are hard to come by right now, something that Brandon has accepted.
What's special about this team is if you talk to a lot of the guys around here, it's the most talented team they've played on. So yeah, that makes at-bats hard to come by, but that also makes a World Series a very plausible thing. And that's what we all want to do. I mean, how many opportunities do you get to do that? So I want to be a part of a World Series team, and if that means that I need to come off the bench and put up a good at-bat for a pinch hit or, whatever it may be, then that's what I'm going to do. If they need me to start because someone's feeling a little rough that day, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to go give it the best effort that I can because I want to see this team win in the World Series at the end of the year.
Well, that's what everybody wants to be. I mean, I look at those Yankees, Yogi Berra, all those World Series. He's got such a terrific attitude, Brandon, and accepting his role. And he's proven he can be a spot player and still perform. It's not an easy job, particularly for a young player. Love his attitude.
And the smile that goes with it.
Yeah, and he's got energy.
Well, I think it's fair to say that from the time that Nimmo got to AAA until now, his stock has only risen. Good changeup by Hellickson, 1-2.
Well, another big plus for him is he's a heck of a pinch hitter.
Right, so those are the things you learn about a guy when you get to the big leagues, because obviously he's not pinch hitting in the minors. He's shown an ability to get on base. He's got some power.
And guys, to that end, I know, Keith, you were saying it's especially difficult to play this role as a young player. Jay Bruce was telling me before the game today that what separates Brandon Nimmo is he prepares like a veteran. He prepares for every situation, so he's never taken aback by any situation, whereas most players, they don't know how to adjust right away.
And Brandon also gave credit to Kelly Johnson for giving him some ideas about how to stay ready as a part-time player.
See, you've got to be a sponge when you're a young kid coming up to the big leagues, and you want to hang on every word possible from the veterans and pick up from their experiences.
2-2 coming, and Brandon takes a call, strike 3, as Hellickson nails that inside corner for his third strikeout of the night.
You saw that coming. Cutter in, and then finally threw one at his hip. Does he catch that inside corner? Good frame by Wieters.
Hey, even a veteran hitter, if I had an at bat off Hellickson right there the way he pitched Brandon Nimmo, I'd go to the dugout and say, okay, he pitched me pretty tough.
Yeah.
Good sequence of pitches.
That was the Jeep pitch cast, you know. Here's Cabrera, who had an infield hit and scored a run in the third. Mets got a run in the first, a run in the third. They lead 2-1 in the fifth. And the curveball from Hellickson for a strike.
I like to think there's a lot of things I can do, but as I get older, I realize there's not a lot of things that I could do. I know salesperson would be one I can't do. Absolutely.
That'd be awful.
Oh.
How about pleasing the salesperson?
Oh,
Can you do that?
Oh, just awful.
There's the changeup from Hellickson. Well, Hellickson in his first start of the season for anybody has acquitted himself quite nicely. A couple of RBI hits by Todd Frazier, the difference in this game. No action behind Hellickson, who's approaching 80 pitches in his first start. And Cabrera hits one deep but foul down the right side. That'll make it into the second deck. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by M&M's Chocolate Candies, the official chocolate of the New York Mets. Celebrate game day with M.
Are those readers?
Conforto waits on deck. Wieters sets up inside. And Cabrera pulls that one foul.
Hellickson's throwing a good game.
Yes, he is.
He is more aggressive than I've ever seen him.
Pitched decently for the Phillies last year, horribly for the Orioles after he was traded. And sat on the shelf for a long time this winter, so he's a guy who's got to prove himself all over again at age 31. 1-2 coming. And Cabrera hooks that one foul.
You know, he's throwing a little bit like Milwaukee's Chase Anderson threw the other night. So maybe against this Mets team, it doesn't mean you have to throw 95 plus. Just, you know, a large assortment of cutters and changeups and breaking balls. Might come back with the same pitch he threw to Nimel.
Curveball foul.
Cabrera's a tough out, boy. He's swinging the bat good right now. He's a hitter.
Eighth pitch of the at bat coming to Cabrera. And he lays off the curveball. You know, watching Hellickson throw changeup and curves, I think about what I read about the Padres young lefty Joey Lucchesi.
That's right.
Who throws a combination changeup curve that he calls a churve. And I was asking you about it because I'd never heard of such a thing before.
I mean, it's almost like he's using his whole hand on the ball to throw that curveball. People I know have told me.
Lined over the shift and into right field, and Cabrera has a base hit. Over the linebackers and in front of the secondary. And Cabrera's got his second hit of the night.
You always got to hit the seams of the zone, Gare. And everything he threw at Cabrera, the kitchen sink. And Cabrera had an answer. Terrific at bat.
He has gotten off to a rollicking start. Now the pitching coach Derek Lilliquist is on his way out to the mound as the Nationals bullpen gets cranky. They've got a lefty and a righty up.
It's almost like they were going to let Hellickson go as far until he gave up a hit, and then as soon as he did, they're going to have the stall here with Lilliquist, get these guys up as fast as they can, and give him, I guess, maybe one more batter because of the way Todd Frazier's swung the bat against Hellickson.
Matt Grace, the left-hander, Sean Kelly, the right-hander, getting up. Hellickson at 83 pitches, 14 of them already in this inning to 2 batters. Cabrera certainly stretched him, and now Conforto, who has been on base twice in this game. He doubled to the fence in left field and scored in the first. He walked in the third and almost scored. Thrown out on a nice relay by Turner and a very good tag by Wieters. Trying to score on a double by Frazier. So Cabrera at first and 1 out. And Conforto fouls off the changeup, 0-1. Well, Hellickson started the night with a lifetime ERA against the Mets of 7.81 in 8 career starts. So this is one of his better games that the Mets have seen. Crowds Conforto with the cutter, and it's 1-1.
So they've been pitching Conforto like you should everybody, up and in to keep him honest, to open up the outside corner, up and in, down the way. The game hasn't changed. Here comes a cutter in. That was right there to rip. Good cut. Michael's a little bit off. Sorry, Gare.
Bad cutter, good cut.
I'm missing that.
No, we like it. We like it.
It was a bad cutter.
Oh, Gare, you know, you're Johnny on the spot.
Just trying to edit you, that's all.
Throw over sign from Wieters.
I like that the signal that used to mean hit the batter now means throw to first.
It's hilarious to me. Whenever you'd get that from the catcher, you'd be like, oh, here we go. Someone could be charging.
So what's the signal now to hit the batter?
They were told.
They're told coming out of the dugout.
Because you got cameras now that reveal. And
1-2 to Conforto. And the changeup off the plate, 2-2. Todd Frazier, who's already got 2 RBI hits in this game, is waiting on deck. So, as Ronnie says, this is probably Hellickson's last batter either way. And then they've got the lefty ready for Gonzalez. Cabrera at first and 1 out. And Conforto lifts one to left. Adams is there and puts it away for the second out. And back to first Cabrera. So does Davey Martinez make the change here?
He's coming up. There he
up
goes.
the dugout steps, and that's going to be it for Hellickson.
Pitch count.
Well, and also Frazier's beaten him twice.
Yeah.
Not going to let that happen again, so they'll bring in Sean Kelly to face Frazier. So not bad outing by Hellickson in his Nats debut. He's out after 4 2/3 though, and this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon.
Got a big contract with the Nationals after an outstanding year in San Diego a couple of seasons ago. Hasn't found as much success in Washington.
He has had a problem with the home run ball. Gave up 12 home runs in 26 innings last year. He's given up 2 more this year in 5 2/3.
Looks like a Broadway sign.
Standing room only. Todd Frazier, RBI single, RBI double tonight. Bats with Cabrera at first and 2 out. Takes a slider from Kelly for a strike. Frazier is 0 for 5 in his career against Kelly. So this choice makes sense from that perspective for Davey Martinez.
Yeah, Kelly's a slider machine. Predominantly going to see sliders from the right-hander.
And Frazier gets a fastball and fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Nationals keep Matt Grace busy in the bullpen with Adrian Gonzalez on deck, so this is a 1-batter affair for Kelly. Hellickson went 4 2/3, allowed 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 88 pitches in his Nats debut. Kelly ahead on Frazier, 0-2. And he bounces the slider, and Wieters stops it. You know, 40 home runs 2 years ago for the White Sox.
40 and 98.
Got 2 so far as a Met. They came in the same game on this homestand. And Cabrera takes off and then starts and stops and goes back, and the throw gets away, and Cabrera will head back to second base, and he'll make it safely. Well, a dirt ball read by Cabrera gone awry, but it all worked out in the end.
Well, we talked about Cabrera's base running, how he's very aggressive on balls in the dirt. Wieters could have ran him right there. It's a tough call for Wieters.
Well, it was quite a retreat by Cabrera, and Kendrick threw it where it was hard for Zimmerman to pick it up, and will be an error charge to Kendrick.
The rare double dirt ball read.
Well, he certainly is far more healthy than he's ever been as a Met. And you can see it. He's in scoring position now with 2 out. And Frazier takes another slider down. So after Kelly got ahead of him 0-2, now the count is full.
The Twilight Zone music on the 3-2-2.
Well, Kelly hasn't walked a batter yet this year. This is his 7th appearance. Jeremy Hellickson, interested spectator. Cabrera at second with 2 out, 3-2 to Frazier. And Todd strikes out on the slider to end the inning. So Kelly wins that battle. Frazier's retired for the first time tonight. Kelly comes in to get his man. And we head to the 6th with the Mets up 2-1. Jacob Degrom back to work in the 6th inning with a 2-1 lead. 9-1-2 in the Washington batting order. Michael Taylor leads off in the 6th. And Taylor takes a rip at a slider and misses nothing in 1.
Another guy in this lineup, national I should say, not guy. Jeez, Keith. Hitting on the interstate, struggling, Taylor.
Had a good year last year. Took over in center field when Adam Eaton got hurt. And Degrom goes upstairs for another swinging strike, and it's 0-2. Degrom has had at least 15 swings and misses against the Nationals in each of his last 8 starts against them. So he has found the formula against this team for getting them to come up empty. Here's the 0-2. And that one's too high. Taylor at 271 last year, 19 home runs. Played the bulk of the center field last year for the Nats unexpectedly, and holding down the job this year. He's just 1 for 22 against Degrom. 1 for 23. Strikeout number 9 for Degrom. 1 out in the 6th. Now, Degrom already has a win against the Nats, but as we mentioned earlier, it was not easy. He faced a bases loaded, nobody out jam in the 6th inning of that game.
And somehow got through it, because he's just one of those pitchers that can find a little extra. Pop up by Zimmerman. The big out, maybe the lucky out, was the 2nd out.
As Turner floats one into right center for a base hit. And so the Nats have their 4th hit, and the speed of Trey Turner aboard with 1 out.
I was talking about the 2nd out to Harry Kendrick. Was a line shot right at Rosario at shortstop, and then finishes off Turner. Maybe got the call. Turner didn't like it, got thrown out, so did his manager. But that took a lot of guts, and boy, Jacob has him in spades.
Well, Turner just got a small measure of revenge with his base hit. Now Degrom has to keep an eye on him with Kendrick at the plate. Turner 6 for 6 stealing bases, leading the National League. Degrom had not given up a stolen base this season until Defoe stole one without a throw in the 5th inning. With the pitcher up, the Mets didn't even bother to cover. Turner missed a lot of time last year. Played just 98 games, but stole 46 bases. That's the kind of base stealer he is. He is prolific. Not going, and fastball for a strike to Kendrick. Kendrick's been up twice, struck out both times. Chasing up in the zone.
There's certain hitters, if you're smart enough, you see Harper on deck, that you know they are the kind of hitter that'll take a pitch to let the runner steal a base, get an easy strike.
Good call, Ronnie. You noticed that on that close-up after the pitch of Kendrick, he was glancing down at first base, and I think he might have thought he was going to steal. But also, Kendrick's a good hit and run guy. It goes the other way, but that's a forgotten weapon in today's game.
DeGrom's going to spend a lot of time making sure Turner doesn't get a great jump.
You see that graphic, 17 of 18. The Mets have only thrown out 1 guy. The thing about Turner that makes him dangerous is he does not get a big lead. So it's not like you can pick him off. Well, this is a little bigger lead here now, but tremendous speed. Billy Hamilton type speed.
Rom pops Kendrick inside, misses 1-1. Well, the Mets have given up the most stolen bases in the major leagues this year. And the Nats have run fairly wild the last couple of years against the Mets. Turner with the oven mitt on that left hand. Try to prevent injury on a slide. Not going. And Kendrick with a feeble cut at a slider, and it's 1-2. A little surprising that Turner hasn't attempted to run yet.
Yes, very surprising. And it's getting frustrating for Kendrick up there in these at bats.
Well, now he's got to protect himself. It's 1-2.
Cold night, hard to get loose. Down a run.
And Kendrick strikes out for the 3rd time. 10th strikeout of the night for Jacob Degrom, his first double-digit strikeout game of the season. He had 11 of them last year. It's the 22nd of his career.
Again, using the upper part of the strike zone.
Absolutely, Ron.
And you know what's surprising to me is Kendrick's usually very good at hitting that ball up in the strike zone. One of the few hitters, but he's not able to handle it.
So now you got Harper at the plate with the tying run at first and 2 out. Broken bat home run with the bases empty in the 1st. Ground out with the bases empty in the 4th.
Keep the ball away. Just keep the ball away.
Down. Saw what he did in Washington on up and away fastball.
If you come in, make sure you don't make a mistake. Miss in.
Turner, a delayed steal, and he gets it without a throw. Turner did not run on the pitch, but he hopped out to a good secondary lead and then took off, and he's got the stolen base.
So that leaves a big bag open now.
Now you got to walk Harper, don't you?
And they did.
And they are going to give Harper the intentional walk. Well, that is
a knucklehead right there.
Except that you're now putting the go-ahead run on base. And I know Zimmerman's been struggling, but an extra base hit here, and all of a sudden the Nats would have the lead.
Zimmerman 2 for 19 thus far with runners in scoring position. Ouch.
Well,
don't think he doesn't know it.
He has struck out in both his at-bats tonight, looking in the first, swinging in the fourth. He has 2 career home runs against Jacob Degrom. Turner at second, Harper at first, 2 down. Mets protecting a 2-1 lead in the 6th. And Zimmerman watches on the outside corner, 0-1.
You know, Gary, there's 3 or 4 players in all of baseball that you walk in that situation. Harper's one of them.
Well, with this lineup right now.
This lineup in red hot.
And that's what we talked about in the open tonight. It's not just Bryce Harper. It's Bryce Harper with Murphy and Eaton and Rendon all out of the lineup. And Zimmerman struggling so mightily. Turner takes off, so does Harper, but Degrom fields the comebacker, and that retires the side. Degrom gets his man. Middle of the 6th, 2-1 New York.
Braves.
Well, Trey Turner stealing second. The Mets intentionally walked Harper, and this is what happened after the inning was over.
Well, he's getting a little talking to by manager Dave Martinez, saying, "Hey, you stole that base, and you know, I've got a big guy at the plate. We want him swinging the bat."
Well, let me turn that around for just a second, okay? As Matt Grace comes in to face Adrian Gonzalez, leading off in the bottom of the 6th, with the Mets up 2-1. And Gonzalez takes out of the strike zone, ball 1. So from a Mets perspective, as you look at Grace's numbers, okay, if Turner stealing second causes you to automatically walk Harper in that situation because you fear him the most and Zimmerman's struggling, Defoe ranging very wide and throws out Gonzalez for the first out. then why wouldn't you simply walk Harper with the runner at first and create the same situation?
Well, I think I was mentioning in the open that the Cubs walked him 11 times in a 4-game series. That's what they did. Every single time that he had an opportunity to drive in a runner, even from first base, they would walk him and move the runner into scoring position. So that's the gutsy move. You know, I just don't know if first-year manager's ready for that one.
I'm just a bit old school.
Yeah.
I don't like putting a tying or going ahead, go ahead runner on base.
But you just did after Turner stole.
Turner should never have stolen. You don't want to take the bat out of your main guy. Once he did that, okay, I can understand the walk. I mean, I know where you're coming from, Gary, but I'm just a little bit old school. I mean, it started with Barry Bonds.
Right, where they walked him with the bases loaded.
Incredible.
Buck did. Buck
exactly.
Showalter.
Yep.
I think that I would, if I had to talk to Turner, I would say that I would really want you to run early when Kendrick was up there. Then we got 3 shots to drive you in.
That was something that none of us could understand.
Yeah. And then second, I don't know if I want you running with Ryan Zimmerman up. He's struggling right now. Let him see the pitch. He doesn't need anything flashing in front of his eyes as you're stealing a bag. Let him, take his at bat.
1-2 to Lagares, and Grace bounces that. 2-2. Well, it's all fascinating, and it all goes back to a team, Washington, that's struggling right now, has one superstar in their lineup and not a whole lot of support for him. And how do you adjust your expectations as the opposing team when that's the situation? Just got a piece of that slider, and it's 2-2.
I just don't think I'd want Turner. I would be looking ahead that Harper is going to hit unless my man hits into a double play. But it would be Kendrick. Even if you steal with Kendrick and you've got maybe 2 shots, you're still going to walk Harper with the base open. I'd rather have him just hold at first base and get your guy up. He's just hit a home run with a broke a bat in 2. So there's a lot of ways you can look at it.
It'll be interesting to watch as this series goes along, especially if Rendon is still unable to play tomorrow or the next day. How the Mets continue to look at Harper in situations like that. 3-2 to Lagares, and he walked him. So Juan is on. The ball gets away. I don't think Juan realized it, but Wieters over to get it, and Lagares is on base with a 1-out walk. Tomorrow night's game, second game of the series. Zach Wheeler will be on the mound for the Mets against Gio Gonzalez. 6:30 the coverage right here on SNY. Now it's Lobaton, the former National, who's gone 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out and struck out. And it appears as though Zach Wheeler will not be the only Mets starter to throw a pitch in the 7th inning this year. Jacob Degrom is on deck to bat for himself, and lo and behold, stay in the game.
I was going to leave the booth if he was hit for.
Well, he's only thrown 73 pitches through 6 innings, so it was kind of a no-brainer. But we've seen stranger things before.
Well,
like a pitcher taken out with a no-hitter with 77 pitches. We saw that last week.
And that's the other factor is not only do you have Harper up and no one behind him right now, they're struggling, but you got one of the best, most dynamic pitchers on the mound.
There goes Lagares. The throw by Wieters on a hop, not in time. And Lagares has his first stolen base of the year and only the 4th for the Mets this season.
Now, there is the right time to steal a base. Lagares took a chance. He wasn't coming over. And even if Degrom gets up, now he will. Degrom can hit. This is a good play right here. It's a good gamble.
So a runner in scoring position for Lobaton, who's getting his first right-handed at-bat of the season. It's been pretty much the same left and right. He got a little more pop from the left side. And Lobaton trying to go to right, pokes one foul, 2-1. How do you think it plays for Lobaton as a hitter, facing a staff that he has such intimate knowledge of?
I don't think it plays that much because he's just, he's a defensive guy. Anything you get offensively from Jose will be a plus.
I think it's got to help. You know what your guys are, what they're throwing. You've caught them. But
it's I mean, like a guy like Grace, it's very simple. You got to get the ball up. He's a single ball guy. But if you get him up, can you deliver?
I never thought of that before, Gary. That's a good question. I never thought about that. If I was a catcher and I was catching and I saw a bunch of pitchers and they all get traded and all of a sudden I got to face them, I got to think I know what it looks like. I've got the catcher's got the same view as the hitter.
I mean, Ronnie's right. He's not a great hitter, but I would think it gives him a little bit of an edge.
Oh, I think it not only an edge, but also, I mean, Grace is different because he really just pounds that sinker in there. So there's not a lot of change in what he does. But, a lot of hitters guess along with what's going on, and he'd be able to guess along better than most.
There goes Lagares stealing third. Wiener's throw is on target, but Defoe bobbles it and can't make the out. And Lagares has a stolen base. Might have been shaken up on that slide.
Well, the head first slide.
If Defoe catches this cleanly, he's probably out.
Perfect throw from Wieters. And he looked to make the tag. Oh, boy. I think
Lagares' face hit the shoulder of Defoe.
You slide head first, you put yourself at risk. I think the helmet gave Defoe a little more trouble.
So Lagares steals second and third, but that was a face-to-face collision with a helmet involved.
Interesting. With Degrom up, they're going to play the corners in and the middle infielders back in the 6th inning in a 1-run game. I think I might have to bring him halfway.
Lefty-lefty matchup.
And Degrom sets up for the squeeze. Lagares coming home. It's booted by Grace and the run scores. Lobaton going to third. 3-1 New York. The Mets run the safety squeeze and it works to perfection as Degrom drives in Lagares and the Mets have a 2-run lead.
Boy, this is some good baseball, isn't it? Whew.
Sacrifice for Degrom, an error on Grace.
And excellent hustle and heads up by Lobaton. And we got an American leaguer who is the skipper of this squad. And he's managing like a national leaguer. I love it. Oh, that is just...
If you heard I said you're supposed to step on the ball.
Don't put him behind goal.
Came pretty close. The run is in, first and third, one out. Now Rosario takes a strike. Well, that's become such a popular play in baseball, but one really the Mets have not executed the last few years, the safety squeeze. And Degrom getting the bunt down and making things happen. And Lagares with a perfect read probably would have scored even if Grace fielded that ball cleanly. That's a call strike to Rosario and it's 0-2.
There's real no defense for it because if it is a bad bunt, the runner on third base should read it and stay where he is, and it ended up being just an out at one of the bases.
Well, the Nationals, this inning is just really falling apart on them. Two mistakes. Stolen base, a third by Lagares that was out by a mile, dropped by Defoe, the third baseman, and now a botched bunt, squeeze bunt by the pitcher, even though the run would have scored, but it set up another first and third in the big inning.
Mets have scored without a hit. 2 walks, 2 stolen bases, the sacrifice, and an error. Give Degrom credit for an RBI on that safety squeeze. And Rosario hits one toward the middle. Nice stop by Turner. They backhand flip for the out, but a run comes home to make it 4-1. Turner robs Rosario of a base hit, but no way they could double up Ahmed. And so Lobaton comes home with the second run of the inning to make it 4-1.
Well, this ball is ripped, and what a play by Turner. And Kendrick not even thinking about turning 2.
So the Mets have scored 2 runs without a hit in the inning. And now lead it 4-1. And this would be a great spot for Rosario to steal a base. Mets already have 2 stolen bases in the inning.
It's like turning the tables on the Nationals, right?
Yep.
And Grace thinking about it.
You know, about that safety squeeze, the only way that can be foiled, and this is a high art form, so if you got a pitcher or a first baseman that knows what they're doing, you can turn it 2. You know, if it's bunted hard back at the pitcher, you can turn it and turn 2 on the pitcher running at first and the inning.
That would be some quick thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
On the spot. Thinking on your feet.
Right, because you're distracted by the runner coming.
Yes.
But you'd have to know the speed of the bunt. If it's right back at you, you can definitely turn it.
Maybe not against Degrom, who runs pretty well, but against most pitchers.
You'd have to know the, yeah, exactly.
Nimmo's 0 for 3 tonight. Popped up twice and took a call third strike. And he's yet to see a pitch, as Grace is pretty convinced that Rosario's going to run. It all began with a walk to Lagares on a 3-2 pitch. He stole second with Lobaton at the plate, stole third as Lobaton walked, and then Degrom got the safety squeeze bunt down for 1 run, and the fielder's choice brought in a second. Rosario runs, Wieters his throw, a good one, and he's out. Rosario wants the Mets to check it out. Mickey Callaway puts up the hold sign. For the moment, it's a 2-6 caught stealing to end the inning.
It's a bang bang play.
Very close play, a good throw by Wieters, and we'll wait.
Let's see if he got his foot in. And he did not.
It is a bang bang play, but you can't reverse this. He got
He's
him.
out.
It was the right call, and the Mets will not challenge.
OUT.
And that's how the inning comes to an end. Mets get 2 runs without a hit and lead it 4-1 as we go to the 7th at Citi Field. Jacob Degrom back to the mound for the 7th inning. Gets a swinging strike on Matt Adams. Mets now with a 3-run lead. Adams had a base hit his last time up, a single to center in the 5th. One of only 4 hits allowed by Degrom over 6 innings. 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. His first double-digit strikeout game of the year. And he ties up Adams. He went around on that slider, and it's 0-2. Degrom has been right on top of his game right from the beginning.
It's interesting how he's got that good down slider working, and he's used it sparingly. He's been effective up there all night.
Pitch count still very low as he starts this 7th inning.
They want to go upstairs again.
Half swing. Did he go? He went around. Strike 3. Strikeout number 11 for Jacob Degrom. 1 down in the 7th.
Eating them up.
He's lighting it up tonight. Just every pitch has a purpose. Started him off with a fastball, then went upstairs, slider down and in he couldn't hold, and then fastball up.
I'm not so sure he swung, but we'll take it. You Met fans will take it, I know that.
Second straight day that a Met starter has struck out 11. Wieters hooks one foul down the right side, 0-1.
And that's what's interesting about this game. Very few curveballs for Degrom, very few changeups for Degrom. Really, it's been a couple of fastballs, one down in the strike zone, one up when he gets ahead, and that good slider.
A.J. Cole, whose turn Jeremy Hellickson took in the rotation today, is now up in the Nationals bullpen. And Wieters takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Boy, oh boy, is he just pumping him in there. This is just fun to watch. Pitcher in command and just going after people.
This is the first time he's really been dominant this season. Struggled through his first 2 outings and limited damage. Broken bat pop-up and an easy play for Frazier for the 2nd out. And then that last outing against Miami, he had the 1 bad inning. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has another game break.
Wow.
One behind Bryce Harper for the National League lead.
After signing that big contract.
Yeah, he's a player.
Because he's better at Coors Field.
That's right.
But not this year so far.
So far.
Here's Wilmer Defoe, who had a bunt single and a stolen base his last time up. Moises Sierra is out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Defoe keeps the inning going. And Defoe slaps one foul, and it's 1-1.
You know, we saw Syndergaard strike out 11 yesterday, but it really is a testament to how efficient Jacob has been because of the pitch count alone and how deep he's gotten into the game.
Syndergaard threw 101 pitches in 5 1/3. Here's Degrom at 82 pitches over 6 2/3.
He's got a.
Defoe just got a piece, 1 and 2.
I'm just loving his slider because it's got down tilt and it's tight and it's breaking late. I can tell on TV, Ronnie, you can too.
You used to be able to say when you have a game like this, you had the ball on a string. That's how it must feel like for Jacob.
One, 2 to Defoe. Slowly hit. Degrom off the mound. Side retired. 7 strong innings for Degrom and still plenty left in the tank. 7th inning stretch time, 4-1 to York. Fifth most RBI among active players. The top four, well, Pujols and Beltre are obvious.
Beltre, Cabrera.
Right, of course.
And I didn't have. I had Joey Votto for my fourth, but
he's fast approaching.
Cano is only 2 ahead of Gonzalez for that fourth spot. A couple of changes for the Nationals. Pedro Severino comes in behind the plate, and Moises Sierra comes in to play left field.
They've got Severino in the 7-6 hole Weeder spot up on the board anyway.
Well, we'll see. AJ Cole is the new pitcher. He has been bumped from the starting rotation for the moment to make room for tonight's starter Jeremy Hellickson.
His 2 games have been 2 starts. The first start was a complete blowout. That's where all those numbers come from. The second start was pretty good.
First one was against the Mets and did not go well. Brandon Nimel, who was at the plate when Rosario was caught stealing to end the 6th, leads off the home 7th and rockets one to deep center field. Taylor racing back, going back, warning track. He gets there at the wall, can't make the catch. Nimel around second, on his way to third, and he'll make it easily with his second triple in 2 days. Nimmo attacks the first pitch he sees from AJ Cole. Taylor made a good effort, but Nimmo has another triple.
Came into the game hitting 400. 1 for 4 tonight now. How in the world did they send him down? I know they needed an arm in that bullpen, but they sure as heck brought him back up quickly.
You know, that last inning and first pitch hitting epitomizes what the Mets have done to these first 14 or 15 games now. That is aggressive. Very aggressive.
This is a guy who is known for his selectivity, but has learned how to ambush when necessary. Infield comes in for Cabrera with Nimmo at third and nobody out. And as Dribble takes a breaking ball for a strike. Cabrera already has 2 hits tonight, an infield single in the 3rd, and then he dumped one over the shift and into right field in the 5th. And Cabrera late on the fastball, and it's 0-2. Conforto and Frazier next. Cole ahead 0-2. And Cabrera hits one deep to right field. Harper goes back, takes a look, and it's out of here. As Dribble Cabrera with a 2-run homer. 3rd hit of the night, his 4th home run of the year, and the Mets now lead at 6-1. Late on the previous pitch, on time on this one.
He is red hot. And the Mets are saying, do you hear us knocking?
Trying to go to 4-0 against Washington this year. Conforto takes ball 1.
You know what's interesting, and Gary mentioned it, sometimes the hitter will give you a read. The 0-1 pitch, the fastball was right by him. So Cole tried to go back in there. Cabrera was ready.
That Mets home run means City will donate enough for No Kid Hungry to provide 20,000 meals to kids in need. 2-0 to Conforto. And he fouls one off. So the Mets scored 2 runs without a hit in the 6th inning. Used a safety squeeze. It's played small ball. Then they played big ball here in the 7th. Cabrera with a home run on the heels of Nimmo's triple. This team is doing it in every conceivable fashion. And then to boot, getting unbelievable pitching. Maybe the best start the Mets have gotten this year from Jacob Degrom tonight, and he will go back out there for the 8th. There's nobody throwing in the Mets bullpen. He'll be the first to do that this year. Rolled down to first. Zimmerman behind the bag. He'll take it himself for the first out of the inning.
And it's been fun to watch. Playing good, solid, exciting baseball.
This guy's had a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Frazier drove in the first 2 runs of the night. See that little thing he did with his helmet? You see what Jerry Seinfeld tweeted?
That's why he's one of the best comedians of all
He
time.
wants to call that move the "Good evening, ma'am."
Evening, man.
Who just tweeted?
Seinfeld a few days ago.
Oh, a few days ago.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Somebody else tweets other than you, Keith. Here it is.
What?
Evening, ma'am.
It's great.
Jerry.
Are they giving Harper the strawberry treatment?
I don't know how you can give him the strawberry treatment. He broke a bat and hit a home run. But no, it's haven't been much for Mets fans to gloat about here when the Nationals come to town.
Well, the last one I remember was Harvey's better.
Yeah,
Remember that?
With
They faced
Strasburg.
Strasburg?
That's right.
A long time ago now. And that to be, what, 2013?
What the Boston fans did it in '86 in Game 5 because they roughed up Doc and it looked like they were going to win the World Series, and they got it going, and it was loud, deafening.
There haven't been too many like that, right? There was the Darryl chant.
Yes.
There was the "Who's your daddy" chant for Pedro.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh. That was right down the middle, folks.
Severino didn't even get any leather on it.
That was right down the middle, folks. Calm down.
Ooh.
Kind of close to Frazier.
Donut hole.
A little repair job. And the breaking ball gets him for strike 3. So Frazier's caught looking for the second out. Now Adrian Gonzalez. By the way, with the Nationals changes, they've got Sierra hitting the 8 hole, so he leads off the next inning. They have Severino hitting in the 5 hole, and the pitcher hits 6th.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So I guess they took out Wieters for the double switch purpose and took out Adams
I don't.
for defensive purposes.
Not sure.
Down by
No.
5 runs.
No. I don't
know
know.
if something happened to him.
Well, I think they wanted to make the switch in a way that Sierra would lead off, not Severino. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Does that make sense? Severino hit later if
But
he
you
hits
could-
at all.
Next.
It's next level thinking.
Keith, you'd be my bench coach. You got to come up with
Oh,
that.
you don't need me as your bench coach.
I think you should keep the relationship right where it is.
I'll get you fired.
3-0 to Gonzalez, who's 0 for 3 tonight, hitless in his last 9 at bats, and now he's on with a walk. So the inning continues for Juan Lagares. Tomorrow at 6. What should we expect from Zach Wheeler in his second start? Get the inside scoop as our panel of insiders breaks down the latest New York baseball news on Baseball Night in New York, presented by Tri-State Cadillac Dealers tomorrow at 6, only on SNY. Lagares has had a productive night tonight. A bunt single in the 4th, and then he walked, stole 2nd, and stole 3rd, and scored on the safety squeeze in the 6th. And I don't believe he's had a chance in center field. It's not too many games where Juan plays and doesn't get into the action defensively.
I mean, we had a note, right? One day that he has what, almost 3 outs per game or something like that.
He has far more putouts per 9 innings than anybody else who's played for the Mets over the last several years. Off the end of the bat and handled by Cole, and he retires Lagares to end the inning. But the Mets expand their lead. One big swing by his dribble Cabrera down to the count 0-2, no problem. His 4th home run of the year. And the Mets now with a 5-run lead as we head to the 8th at Citi Field. The first Met starter to throw a pitch in an 8th inning this season, as he faces Moises Sierra leading off in the 8th inning. 11 strikeouts for Degrom tonight, only 1 intentional walk. He's given up a run on 4 hits. He has been dominant. Sierra, 29 years old, had some big league time with Toronto and the White Sox a few years ago. Called up when Adam Eaton went on the disabled list last week. One up the middle and into center field, a base hit for Sierra, the 5th Washington hit of the night.
One of the few sliders left over the plate tonight by Jacob.
That'll get Dave Island on the phone to the bullpen. Only 87 pitches for Degrom.
What you got to have a left-hander ready, at least for Harper. Get a right-hander up too, just in case.
It's nothing. There's no panic here. They want him to get through the 8th inning, but just in case, you can't let this game sneak up on you.
Seth Lugo, who was not used last night, the most rested Mets reliever. Michael Taylor, the batter, and he takes outside for ball 1. Taylor's grounded out and struck out tonight, 0 for 2.
Went downstairs there.
That used to be his stock in trade, that knee-high outside corner fastball. And he has adjusted as the hitters have adjusted. Trey Turner waiting on deck. I mean, think about in just the 4+ years that Jacob Degrom has been in the major leagues, how much the game has changed.
Right.
Used to be that knee-high fastball was a winning formula, but the hitters have changed, and now he's changed his formula. And Taylor fouls off the slider, and it's 2-2. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night, Knicks look at coaches, Jets look at next year, and the Devils are still playing. All that on Geico Sports Night tonight at 11. It's a rare New York sports team that's in the postseason.
Right.
Well, New Jersey anyway.
Take it.
2-2 to Taylor with Turner on deck.
Ooh.
Just missed.
Could have got that. Might have been in. Good pitch, though.
Even better, Taylor not offering it that.
First 3-ball count tonight for Degrom, not counting the intentional walk, which never got to 3 balls. And Taylor pops one foul, and we'll do it again. Imagine that. No 3-ball counts until the 8th inning.
I know.
That's a keep your pitch count down where it is, despite 11 strikeouts.
So my first 2 years with 3-ball count.
Yeah, but you didn't have to worry about
pitch counts. Yeah, thank God.
Not as much anyway. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Taylor. And he fouls off another fastball. What do you think your pitch count limit was?
125 to 130. Yeah.
So that would usually get you through 8 anyway.
Yeah, so, it gets you, 7+.
See, Degrom hasn't had any inning where he's thrown more than 15 pitches. It's the longest at bat he's had tonight. And he strikes out Taylor. Number 12 for Degrom. 1 out in the 8th.
Well, he struck him out on a slider. That wasn't a good one, but he's had a good one all night long. And Keith, you talked about it. It's been tight. It's looked like a fastball as it approaches the plate and just makes a left turn late and sharp.
Down tilt.
You're right about the tilt. He just have not been able to pick it up. That wasn't a good one there, but it worked.
Gee, pitch cast. What's interesting about Degrom's slider tonight as Turner steps in and goes after a first pitch, 0-1, is that he's not throwing it as hard as he has. His average slider velocity coming into the night was 89.7. He's been throwing it mostly 87, 88 tonight.
I like that better because it gives it a chance to break. What happens a lot of times with sliders, especially, if you throw it too hard, it just spins up there. It doesn't get a chance to kind of bite. And he's, like I said, if there was any critique, he was overthrowing the first 3 starts. Total control of his body and pitches today.
Turner has one of the 5 hits for the Nats. He floated one into right center for a base hit in the 6th, then stole second. That set the stage for the intentional walk to Harper and enabled Degrom to get through the 6th. Harper 2 batters away now with 1 out in the 8th. And Turner goes after the high fastball, and it's 0-2.
You got that uppercut swing. You're not going to catch up to that high cheddar. Degrom is going to feast. Look at the target upstairs on launch angle swings. He's going to feast up there.
Said it.
Just said launch angle.
Oh, geez, darn it.
Lobaton wants it up again. Too high, 1-2. Degrom with 12 strikeouts, 1 shy of his career high. Twice has struck out 13, both times against Miami. Once in 2014, his rookie year, and then again last year. One, 2 to Turner. A little bit down. 2-2.
Rare change up there from Jacob Degrom. If you've noticed, there's Howie Kendrick on deck. Struck out 3 times in this game. We discussed a little bit about Lobaton behind the plate. Very few shakeoffs from Jake tonight. Mostly head nods in agreement.
2-2. Way held on to that ball a little long. 3-2.
That was one of those where he tried to get a little extra.
Second straight full count for Degrom after not going to 3 balls on any hitter all night. He's now at 100 pitches for the evening. 3-2 to Turner. And fouls it away.
You know, there's an art to pitching late in ball games, and that is not getting out of what you've done the entire game. Sometimes you feel like you got to kick it in gear where you just have to stay where you are. But because today's pitcher doesn't go deep into games, it's almost like they have to relearn it every single time.
Beginning his 4th time around the batting order. You don't see that very often anymore. Three-two. Got a piece of that fastball.
Let it go. Love it. Can't beat me. Not going to give a free pass. Coming after you.
Sierra at first with 1 out. 8th pitch of the at bat coming to Trey Turner. Check the clicker. On the ground through the hole, base hit. Sierra goes to second. Turner has his 2nd hit of the night, and I think that's going to be all for Jacob Degrom.
Good at bat by Turner.
No question.
Here comes Mickey Callaway. They've got the right-hander Lugo ready for Kendrick. The left-hander Blevins ready for Harper. And Degrom with 12 strikeouts under his belt. And the longest outing by a Mets starter so far this year will leave after 7 1/3. Dominating night for Degrom. Seth Lugo will pick up for Jacob Degrom with 1 out in the 8th. 2 men aboard for Howie Kendrick, who struck out all 3 times against Degrom and takes a first pitch curveball outside from Lugo.
Last outing for Lugo was against the Brew Crew. In that first game of the series, went 2 innings plus, gave up the 6 hits. It's his first outing where he didn't have his command.
And now behind on Kendrick, 2-0 with Harper on deck. Blevins continuing to throw in the bullpen, so it looks like this is going to be a 1-batter affair for Lugo. Sierra the runner at second, Turner at first. And now 3-0. So things starting to get a little nervous. If Kendrick gets on, then Harper would be coming up. Not with the chance to tie the game, but with the chance to get his team within 1. And that's a 4-pitch walk to Kendrick. So Lugo unable to throw a strike. And that's going to be the only batter he faces. And Blevins will come in to face Harper with the bases loaded. So things getting a little dicey here in the 8th inning. Nats have loaded the bases. Blevins coming in. We'll be right back. Jerry Blevins, prime assignment. Bryce Harper with the bases loaded.
Well, 2 for 10, double, home run. Jerry has been getting better as time has gone on. But always a tough mark here, especially with the bases loaded.
Second straight day he's coming in with the bases loaded. You got Travis Shaw on a ground out in yesterday's game. Harper, a home run tonight. Wailing at the curveball, 0-1.
Harper 2 for 14 thus far against left-handers this season with 2 home runs. He does pull off a bit. Boy, if you leave that thing in middle in, he can put a hurt on you.
Sierra at third, Turner at second, Kendrick at first with 1 out. And Harper lays off that curveball, and it's 1-1. Two curveballs from Blevins to start out Harper.
Jerry always likes to sneak a fastball by a left-handed hitter. Never know when it's coming.
Keep it away.
His best pitch is his curveball. I would stay with that.
Trying to get together with Lobaton on what he wants to throw. And the curveball stays inside, 2-1.
Breaks around the inside corner. Better to have it there than to have it over the middle.
Ryan Zimmerman on deck. Mets keep the bullpen busy. Looks like A.J. Ramos getting ready for Zimmerman. Three straight curveballs, 2-1 to Harper. And Jerry throws the fastball, and Harper pulls it through the hole for a base hit. Sierra is in to score. Turner will score right behind him. Harper drives in a pair, and now it's 6-3 New York, and the Nats will get the tying run to the plate. So Harper with his second and third RBIs of the night.
This is just good hitting. Up and in fastball. I would have kept the ball away, but it got above the belt, inside. And that's what are you going to do? That's just quick bat. You got a breaking ball pitcher out there. That is just a quality at bat.
You got two broken bats by Harper today. You got a home run, a single, and 3 RBI.
So 2 plate appearances against the Mets bullpen. They've yet to get an out. They'll go to a third reliever with Ramos coming in to face Zimmerman. We'll be right back. Ramos called on to try and clean up the mess here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, 2 relievers have not been able to do it. Lugo and Blevins. Ramos 6 walks though, and 6 1/3.
Ramos faced 3 batters yesterday, walked 2 of the 3. He'll face Ryan Zimmerman, tying run at the plate in a 6-3 game. Zimmerman 0 for 3 tonight. And he gets the first pitch in for a strike, 0-1.
Looked like he was taking all the way.
Well, that Harper hit drove in 2 runs charged to Degrom, so his line doesn't look quite as pretty now. 3 runs, 6 hits, and 7 1/3. 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. And now Ramos trying to protect the lead. And Zimmerman takes below the knees, 1-1.
We've seen from Ramos when he's come in these situations that his favorite pitch to go to has been his cutter. In the past, I've always thought he was more of a breaking ball pitcher, but his cutter has been his strength so far.
You got Pedro Severino in the on-deck circle, ready for his first at bat of the night, as Ramos faces Zimmerman with 2 on. And the curveball swung and missed. 1-2.
That was a good one.
Zimmerman 4 for 16 against Ramos. But Zimmerman right now in a real fight for his life. Just 6 for 52 to start the season. Kendrick at second, Harper at first with one out. One-two from Ramos. Oh, the outside corner and got him. And Zimmerman is beside himself. Lance Barksdale punched him out on a pitch that appeared to be a little off the plate. And that's the second out.
Well, it's not the first time. This is around the fourth pitch that's been a little bit borderline, and Barksdale has been giving it to the pitcher.
So now, with two away, Pedro Severino will bat for the first time. Severino filled in while Matt Wieters was on the DL, did a very nice job. He's hitting .308. And he bats with 2 on and 2 out in a 6-3 game. And the first pitch curveball in for a strike.
I kind of like his off-speed curve. He can get that over.
Look at the framing of Lobaton, taking that ball, lifting it up into the strike zone, and keeping it on the corner. Late call from Barksdale. That's what upset Zimmerman also.
He had the glove in the strike zone. The ball was out of the strike zone, and that's what sold it. And Severino takes a fastball high, 1-1.
Interesting, though, when you watch Lobaton catch, it's not like he's a still-bodied catcher. Moves around a lot there, but then sticks that pitch when it gets to the plate.
So the former Met Matt Reynolds on deck with the pitcher due up next. 1-1 to Severino, and he rockets one into left field for a base hit. Kendrick will be held at third as Conforto gets it in on one hop to the plate. And now the tying runs are on base with 2 out, and the former Met Matt Reynolds will come up to pinch hit.
It is getting very dicey. You have got the go-ahead run at the plate here.
Well, we talked about how impressive Severino has been, and a really good at bat there.
I was watching Kendrick run. He wasn't running very well, so maybe that's why the hold up there. I mean, you got to hold him up anyway. You're down 3.
So now it's Reynolds trying to do some damage back in his old home. With the tying runs on base, Kendrick at third, Harper at second, and Severino at first. Mets at a 6-1 lead when this inning began. And Reynolds takes the curveball and it misses. Ball 1. Reynolds the 8th man up in the inning. And now Jerry's Familia up and throwing in the Mets bullpen. And if Ramos can't get the third out here, Familia might get an 8th inning call. Mets had this game in firm command, but Degrom weakened a bit here in the 8th. And the bullpens faced 4 batters and retired only 1 of them. And that one misses badly, and now Ramos behind 2-0. Wilmer Defoe would be next. So now Reynolds with the 2-0 advantage. And now ball 3. So the hole gets that much deeper.
This is what Ramos can do here. He can look like a house on fire, and then all of a sudden in the same inning just lose it for a batter or 2.
Well, you know Reynolds is going to take a pitch here.
Oh, of course.
And it's ball 4 to force in a run. And now it's 6-4, and the tying run moves into scoring position. And Mickey Callaway is out of the dugout again, and now he's going to have to go to Familia to try and get the last 4 outs. So Lugo, Blevins, and Ramos all unable to get the job done here in the 8th, and now it's Familia coming into a 6-4 game. We'll be right back. Jerry's Familia 7 for 7 in save opportunities, and for the third time already this year will be asked to get more than 3 outs for a save.
7 saves and a win in 14 games.
Wilmer Defoe up with the bases loaded. 3 runs home in the inning. And Familia misses outside for ball 1. Wilmer Flores in to play first base. He'll bat 9th. Familia goes in the 5-hole as Gonzalez comes out of the game. 4 hits and 2 walks in this inning for the Nationals. Familia, the 5th pitcher of the inning. And Defoe late on the fastball, and it's 1-1.
Well, there was your pitch to hit with the bases loaded, 1-0 count.
They got a win in the game yesterday on the Flores walk-off home run.
Oh.
And he sails one outside to Defoe, 2-1. Defoe, the 9th man up in the inning. Moises Sierra, who got this whole thing started with a base hit up the middle against Degrom, is now on deck. Mets have run through Degrom, Lugo, Blevins, Ramos, and now Familia all in this 8th inning. Harper, Severino, and Reynolds, the base runners, with 2 out. And Defoe grounds one toward the hole. That gets through for a base hit. And that'll tie up the game.
Oh.
Harper and Severino both scoring. It's 6-6. Defoe found the hole. The Nats have scored 5 runs in the 8th inning to get even. And the Mets bullpen, which has been so spectacular through the early season, in complete meltdown in the 8th inning.
Well, give Defoe credit here. This game is never over till it's over. This is the Nats have now batted around this inning.
Stunned.
So now Sierra, who started the whole thing, has a chance to give the Nats the lead. With Reynolds the go-ahead run now at second base. And he's hit by the pitch, and that loads the bases. So Familia joining the rest of his bullpen mates in his inability to get anything done here in this 8th inning. Dave Island's going to go out to talk to him before he faces Michael Taylor with the bases full.
I mean, not even close.
Wow.
First blown save of the year for Familia. In this inning, 5 runs home. The first 2 charged to Degrom, 1 to Lugo, 1 to Blevins, 1 to Ramos.
And Michael Taylor, who's been really handled with the high fastball from Degrom all game long. Good down fastball hitter.
Although Familia has had his number, Taylor just 1 for 11 against Jerry's.
Boy, you've got to be very disciplined as a hitter here. Hard sinker down and in. Got a pitcher struggling.
And Taylor takes the sinker out of the strike zone for ball 1.
I mean, I'm not saying that you almost have to take a pitch when you feel like that, don't you?
I would take a pitch here. Not if it's Harper or a good quality hitter.
Yeah.
But this Michael Taylor's got to take a strike here.
Reynolds, the lead run, standing at third with 2 out. And Taylor takes a knee-high fastball for a strike, 1-1. Now Harper had a 2-run single that got the Nats within 3. A bases loaded walk to Reynolds by Ramos made it 6-4, and then the 2-run single by Defoe tied it against Familia. And now Taylor lays off, and it's 2-1.
You know, I've spent a lot of this evening talking about how aggressive the Mets have been all night long. Nationals have proven they got a lot of fight in their team too.
Well, they watched the Mets beat them 3 times in their own ballpark. They were down 5 runs going to the 8th inning with Degrom dominating them, but it has turned completely here in this 8th inning. And Taylor takes inside, and it's 3-1.
Got a Taylor here. I got to take
He check on the half swing, but he did not go around.
Got to take here.
3-1 take?
I would take here. Not me personally. I'd have Taylor taken.
I'd have him swing. Or ready to swing.
Bases loaded, 2 out, 3-1 to Taylor. And he takes ball 4, and the Nationals take the lead. The second bases loaded walk in what is now a 6-run 8th inning, and Washington goes in front 7-6.
What a complete blow up here.
Well, the Mets had not issued a bases loaded walk this season. They did it 20 times last year. They've now done it twice in this inning. And it's not over yet. Trey Turner comes up. He'll be the 12th man to bat. 7-6 Washington. And Turner takes a strike. Now the Mets bullpen has been just about impeccable, but everybody has contributed to this 8th inning meltdown. Lugo faced 1 batter, walked Kendrick. Blevins faced 1 batter, gave up a hit to Harper for 2 runs. Ramos faced 3 batters, gave up a single and a bases loaded walk. And Familia's now faced 3 and retired nobody. 0-2 now to Turner.
Just swinging wildly there with a pitcher that's struggling.
Familia looking for that elusive 3rd out, get some encouragement from Lobaton. Turner lays off. Lobaton got enough of it to keep Defoe from thinking about trying to score. And it's 1-2.
This could very, very easily be a 2-1 count. And Familia would be in a big trouble.
Ball could have been to the backstop, too.
Oh.
Biggest inning against the Mets so far this year, and Familia trying to finally put it to bed. 1-2 to Turner. This is inside, 2-2. Familia threw 20 pitches in yesterday's game. Still looking for his first out in this one. And Turner rockets one to left field. Conforto those moves over and makes the catch, and the inning finally comes to an end. But 12 Nationals came to bat against 5 Met pitchers, and 6 runs come home. Stunning. 7-6 Nats in the 8th. Mets box score brought to you by your local Tri-State Acura dealer. As Drupal Cabrera, 3 hits, including a 2-run homer. Todd Frazier, 2 RBI hits. Mets had a 5-run lead, which has now disappeared. It is 7-6 Washington as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Haven't seen anything like that in a while.
Wow, I agree. I think to me, and I know it wasn't as much of a meltdown, the last time as Kinsler comes in, last time I saw something that shocked me, stunned me like that was against the Padres when Upton hit the home run in the ring.
That rainy day.
Yeah.
Right.
Derek Norris with a 5-hit game.
Right before the Mets acquired Cespedes, who was going to pinch hit in the bottom of the 8th, batting for Lobaton. So the Mets, who have had a habit of fighting back, have now been fought back against. We'll see if they have a response here in the bottom of the 8th against Kinsler, who they beat up twice in Washington. And Cespedes takes a strike. Wilmer Flores is hitting 8th in the order. He's on deck. And then Ahmed Rosario. Flores came in the double switch in the last half inning. Cespedes getting his first day off of the season. So his first pinch hitting assignment. Went 0 for 5 yesterday. It has been a real struggle for him. 26 strikeouts in his first 58 at bats. And Cespedes hammers one foul, 1-2. Cespedes 2 for 3 against Kinsler, who was part of that bullpen makeover during the season last year for the Nats. But it has not been an even start for him.
Well, what a turn of events.
1-2 coming, and Cespedes yanks one foul. Getting a little chillier.
Yes, it is.
In so many ways. Fly ball center field. Taylor has it lined up. And Cespedes retired, 1 away. Wilmer Flores comes up. Here's the Coors Light refreshing finish from yesterday. This was refreshing.
Fastball away, and Wilmer jumped all over it. Albers had spent most of the at-bat in his kitchen. Decided to go with 2 successive pitches on the outside corner, and that one caught the middle.
His 3rd career walk-off home run, just 1 shy of the Mets club record, which is held jointly by Mike Piazza, Kevin McReynolds, Cleon Jones, and Chris Jones. Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Chris played in the 90s and was not here for very long, but had some dramatic finishes. Wilmer up for the first time in this game. And he pulls one down to third. Defoe staggers but stays with it. And the throw on target for the second out.
Guarding the line. Stayed in front nicely. Well done.
Defoe can play a little bit. You know that?
Well, this is interesting. Now Jay Bruce is going to bat for Ahmed Rosario. So Mickey Callaway pulling out all the stops, trying to come back in this game. He pinch hit for Lobaton with Cespedes. Now he's pinch hitting for Rosario with Bruce, who was held out of the lineup today for the 2nd straight day with some plantar fasciitis. Yesterday it was an odd situation. Bruce sent up to pinch hit in a spot where he was absolutely going to be intentionally walked, and then they left Syndergaard in to bat for himself. And it was nice to see Mickey kind of poke fun at himself in his pregame press conference today. He said, well, you know, Bruce can pinch hit. I'm sure I'll put him up in some nonsensical spot. Well, this is not nonsensical. No. This is a spot where a home run can tie the game. Also, Robles up in the Mets bullpen after Familia blew a save for the first time this year. And Bruce fouls off the first offering from Kinsler. Well, Bruce hit a grand slam against Kinsler in Washington. He's got 2 home runs and 11 career at-bats against this right-hander. Good fastball misses 1-1.
Good eye. Well, you're flirting with danger, throwing Bruce at the knees.
You see the shift against Jay. And he grounds one into the shift. Kendrick is there to field it. Bruce hustling, but he's out by a stride, and that retires the side. So Kinsler, after the Nats get the lead, sets the Mets down 1-2-3. Comes in behind the plate. Jose Reyes goes to shortstop, and Hansel Robles will pitch in the top of the 9th. Robles worked a 1-2-3 8th inning yesterday. He has been a pleasant surprise. The entire Mets bullpen has been terrific, but not in the 8th inning tonight. Howie Kendrick had probably the turning point plate appearance in that 8th inning after Degrom came out of the game with a 6-1 lead with first and second and 1 out with Harper on deck. Seth Lugo came in and walked Kendrick on 4 pitches, which set the stage for everything that followed. Well, it was not a pretty picture for any of the Mets relievers. Lugo faced 1 batter. Blevins faced 1 batter. Ramos faced 3 and retired only 1. Familia faced 4 and retired only 1.
Well, really, the at bat, Gary, that last inning was Trey Turner's quality at bat with the base hit that sent Degrom to the showers. That set up the other chain of events. It was a heck of an at bat by Turner. Got a base hit.
An 8-pitch at bat that was the last for Degrom, who went 7 1/3, the longest that a Mets starter's gone this year. And it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Mets have been carried by their bullpen early in the season with the starters not contributing many innings. Now you have a starter go deeper into a game than one has all year. and the bullpen melts down.
It is crazy.
That's why they play the games.
There's no clock. Well, there is a clock now.
There is a clock.
2-2 now to Kendrick. Bryce Harper on deck, and then Ryan Zimmerman in the top of the ninth. Robles trying to keep it a one-run game. The Mets will have the top of the batting order coming up. If you are keeping a scorecard, Reyes goes into the 5-hole, and Nito will hit 7th. The pitcher bats 9th.
That's interesting how the call from the bullpen. I don't see the bullpen down there on the phone, so that was into that red light.
Perhaps it's a call to somewhere else.
It's like warning Will Robinson.
Rocket to deep left field off the bat of Kendrick. Near the wall, it's out of here. Howie Kendrick provides an insurance run for the Nationals with his second home run of the season, and it's now 8-6 Washington. Join the club, Hansel Robles. Every Met reliever has given it up tonight.
You know, that's why you have veterans on your team when you need some depth. Kendrick, his swing, catches this ball out front, pulls those hands in, but starts the game out with 3 strikeouts against Degrom. Had that walk that you were talking about, 4 pitches against Lugo, and now counters in his 5th at-bat with a home run against Robles.
You're talking about a veteran, too, who was 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs.
Now Bryce Harper has driven in 3 runs tonight. A home run in the first inning and a 2-run single in that 6-run 8th. And he takes a slider inside for ball 1. Seven runs in the last inning plus. Well, over the last half-dozen seasons, the Mets have had a devil of a time trying to beat the Nationals here in Flushing. This one looked fairly secure in the 8th inning, but it has gotten away. Harper grounds one to the right side. Cabrera gets in front of it, and this time Bryce is retired for the first out of the inning. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, dedicated to advancing cancer research, treatment, and care. More science, less fear. By Citi Preferred Card of the New York Mets, and by the Lincoln Motor Company. Now Ryan Zimmerman bats with 1 out and nobody on, and he flies 1 out to right center field. Nimel makes the call. And the catch, 2 out.
That was a little better swing by Zimmerman, who we've seen in the past have a lot of power that way to right center.
He's always been better when he goes to that opposite field, but he's got another horse collar tonight. He's 0 for 5.
Now Pedro Severino had a big base hit in the midst of that 6-run 8th inning. In the 9th, the Mets will have Nimmo, Cabrera, and Conforto coming up, top of the batting order, and then if anybody gets on, Todd Frazier. And Severino takes ball 1. So yesterday Noah Syndergaard struck out 11. Today Jacob Degrom struck out 11. The last time Met pitchers struck out 11 or more in back-to-back games, it's been a long time. How about September of 1970?
Wow.
In a doubleheader against the Phillies, Nolan Ryan struck out 13 in the first game. Ray Sadecki struck out 12 in the second game.
Big Ray with the big hook.
So it's been 48 years since Met starters have struck out 11 in back-to-back games.
Ray Sadecki, of course, in that big trade with the Cardinals and the Giants after the '66 season. Cepeda for Ray Sadecki. Ray won 20 games in '66, I believe.
He was instrumental for the Mets in '73 when they won the pennant. Popped up for Cabrera on a 3-0 pitch. He gives way to Nimmo, and Severino retired to end the inning. So the Mets will try and come from behind in their final turn at bat. Top of the order, Nimel, Cabrera, and Conforto coming up with the Nats leading 8-6. With live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Well, in a season that has been charmed, the Mets have been uncharmed tonight by 7 runs in the last 2 innings by the Nationals. Now we'll see if they can respond in the bottom of the 9th against Ryan Madson, who gets the call for the save tonight.
Sean Doolittle pitched the last 2 nights, so he gets the night off, and Matson's in.
Interesting. Sorry, guys, to interrupt. Down 2 runs, leadoff hitter Nimel takes swinging at the first pitch.
Nimel, Cabrera, Conforto for the Mets in the 9th. Madson has 1 save this year, 37-year-old right-hander who has been a closer in his career, most notably with the Phillies in 2011 when he saved 32 games.
Close some games for Oakland.
Nimel had a triple his last time up, his second in 2 days, and he takes a strike from Madson, 1-2.
That was a nasty hook for Madson.
Cabrera, who's had a big night with 3 hits including a 2-run homer, waits on deck. 1-2 to Nimel, and he struck him out with a changeup. So Madson gets Nimel for the first out.
Madson has always, his entire career, had 3 quality pitches: fastball, curveball, changeup.
So 1 out now, Cabrera. Infield hit in the 3rd. Base hit to right in the 5th. 2-run homer in the 7th. That appeared to put the game on ice for the Mets. It gave them a 6-1 lead. Wasn't to be. And he's late on the fastball by Madson. 0-1.
I'm a bit surprised the Mets aren't taking here a first strike down 2 runs.
One and 1 to Cabrera with Conforto on deck. You like to get on base any way you can.
Right.
Give Michael a chance to tie the game with 1 swing. Todd Frazier, if anybody gets on. It's poked the other way, a base hit for Cabrera. Chased toward the line by Sierra. Cabrera heads for second, and he slides in safely with his 4th hit of the night, an opposite field double, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate.
What sweet hitting. This is a nasty pitch, down and away. Look at that. Just can't do it any better. You take what the pitcher's willing to give you, and you cannot try to pull that ball. That's just phenomenal.
So the Mets have a chance here in the 9th. Conforto 1 for 3 and a walk. He had an opposite field double back in the 1st inning. And that bounces away from Severino. Cabrera breaks for 3rd, and he's thrown out. Oh, a terrible base running play by Cabrera. Down by 2 runs in the 9th. That base means nothing. And he's thrown out for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well done by Severino.
That just can't happen.
Nope. You just got to be safety first. You're not even a tying run. And Cabrera knows it.
They're going to take a look at it because Defoe tagged in between his legs.
Defoe's got to go down to the base.
Yes.
And if you're the Mets, no reason not to challenge.
Right.
You got nothing to lose here.
It might be overturned.
Well, that would be very fortunate for the Mets and Cabrera.
Poor tag. Right down to the back. Bring it right straight down.
He reached for him instead of slapping the tag down.
Where does the foot have to go to be safe? Eventually, it has to go to the base. You bring your glove right down in front of it. They might overturn this.
I don't know.
So this could be
it's a tough one.
Like a reprieve from the governor if they.
The stay of execution.
Jeez.
So the guys in Chelsea, filled in Colberth's crew and Sam Holbrook's crew, are in the bunker looking at this one. I don't know, the views that we had, it would be tough to overturn.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was close, but not sure there's enough evidence. But the Mets would certainly love to get the call.
Look at that.
Is the foot on the base there, though?
I think he's safe. I think he's safe.
I can't overturn it.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would either. But
here we go.
No,
all right. I have no argument for me.
So with that, the Mets are down to their final out of the night. And Conforto no longer the tying run at the plate. And he knew immediately that he had made a mistake. It's just a chance you can't take.
It's a king-size mistake.
So it puts a damper on what was a really good night for Cabrera, going 4 for 5, including a home run. And now Conforto just trying to keep the game alive and get it to Frazier. And he takes a strike from Madsen, 1-1.
Well, it changes this whole at bat, doesn't it?
Cabrera is going to go home and have some dreams about that.
And it's in for a strike, and now the Mets are down to their final strike.
Look at Severino, how quick. Very nice.
What we've seen of him, he's got to play.
Yeah, he'll be the starting catcher here soon.
Conforto flies one to left. Sierra is there. And the Mets suffer their worst loss of this early season as the Nats come from 5 runs down, score 7 in the last 2 innings against the previously impenetrable Mets bullpen. And the Nats beat the Mets for the first time this year, 8-6.
Well, this is a tough loss, and this is the first time the Mets are going to have to go in there and bounce back. And, you know, anytime you have a big lead like this and you lose it late. And the flip side of the coin is for these guys right here, Harper with a big game, 3 RBIs. It's a big win for the Nationals on the road.
And the Nationals have always seemed to figure out how to get it done here at Citi Field.
Game summary presented by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Ramos took the loss, but he had plenty of company in that Mets bullpen. They all struggled in that 8th inning after Jacob Degrom was really, really terrific tonight. Struck out 12 and 7 1/3, but he comes up with a no decision as the Nats win it 8-6. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Cash for Life from the New York Lottery. You could win $1,000 a day for life. By Verizon, the most awarded network is now the best streaming network. And by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. Final score tonight, the Nationals 8, the Mets 6. Game 2 of this series tomorrow night. Zach Wheeler against Gio Gonzalez. Our coverage begins at 6:30 tomorrow night right here on SNY. Now for Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason Postgame Live. Let's join Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa in the studio. Guys?